Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast. Fucking rolling.
Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Our guest this week, young ripper from Long Beach in the house. His amateur accolades are impressive, including Volcom, World Junior Champ, Curl Grom Search World Champ,
Throwbacks,
and North America WSL Junior title.
yes.
He was consistently on the NSSA podium, battling a lot of big names, including Griffin Colapinto, Jake Marshall, Kevin Schultz, and many others. The last 3 years, he's been attacking the qualifying series and the Challenger series. And he's proven to be a threat there, getting a couple of thirds, winning a QS in Chile. Dude, this guy has got it. And he's recently been highlighted on the couchsurfing we were just talking about. Busted a huge air on
I
Southside.
think the waves look better than they were.
Preparing for the US Open coming up in like a week or two. We're pumped and welcome Nolan, Nolrap,
That's me.
Repoza.
Woo!
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thanks, boys. I'm excited to be here.
So we talk about nicknames, so that's a split between first and last name. Little combo.
Is that so? How did you get your nickname, Chalky?
It's funny, my favorite surfer is Mark Arcalupo, and I surfed with Jeff Booth once, and he goes, "Who's your favorite surfer?" I go, "Aki." He goes, "You're the chocolate Aki."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's so
You're
good.
Chalky.
That's insane.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Booth is a witty one. Yeah.
I love
Is that's already been discussed about on the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get asked.
But yeah, that's I mean, it just makes sense because if you've seen him surf, it's like
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
A little bit.
Me
Yeah,
and backhand.
like-
Spitting image.
If Aki got a really dark tan, fudge, I don't know.
Totally.
But the show's not about me. The show's about Nolrap.
Yeah, no rap.
Nolrap. You've got a wicked backhand.
Thank you.
Like, you're fun to watch.
I appreciate that.
Who is your favorite surfer? Or who do you inspire?
Well, like I feel like my favorite surfer is kind of everyone's favorite surfer, John.
Okay.
But like in America, growing up as a Grom, I definitely like was in awe of Tanner Godowskis my whole career, pretty much. I've always loved watching him.
Nice. Yeah.
His backhand's really good and spicy. Also his forehand too is really good.
Yeah, those Godowskis guys are gnarly.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
them, they're all so gnarly. But I'm trying to think like, I feel like there might have been one or two more like.
You know who you remind me of a little bit?
Who?
Wilco.
Wilco. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching
Wilco,
so much
yeah.
when he was when I was a Grom.
Especially
Going
when
right,
he was-
those long kind of like
Yeah, especially when he was kind of killing it.
Mhm.
That one year he was
He won
making.
2 events in a row.
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
That's
Like-
before the Snapper event last year. I only watched Wilco videos pretty much. I just wanted to surf like Wilco at Snapper.
Because Wilco, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been like, fuck, man, that dude's ripping. And like a different, unique style.
Yeah.
And upside down. And like linking, I mean, bottom turn, hit. Like,
Yeah.
no one does that, you know? I
Totally.
mean, it's very rare where you go, fuck, that guy just, blasted that thing 10 times.
Yeah, and it's typically a backside,
Yeah.
top to bottom, because
Yeah.
it's front side, it's hard, but backside, yeah, he's got that like
Yeah.
wrap, and
That-
like you at Snapper, you got that like
That
you just
time period,
tweak it.
holy shit, like came out of nowhere too.
Totally, yeah. I mean, he actually wasn't my favorite surfer, like when I used to watch him on tour. But then when he did so good that one year, I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
if Wilco can do this, like, this makes it feel like I can do it, you know?
Yeah.
So
And I mean, dude, that to me that's a huge compliment because, fuck, he was back to back. Was
He had the-
yellow jersey for a while.
he had
so-
the yellow jersey pretty much the whole year that year almost.
Yeah.
And I want to see him more on tour because I feel like he's got so much more talent, but
For
like
sure.
you don't really see him that much anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Where'd
not
you
many
grow
ways in
up?
Long Beach, bro.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Long Beach, it's like
What part of Long Beach?
I grew up like South Long Beach, kind of on the border of Orange County. So like I was really close to the beach, and like not like Long Beach, but like close to Seal Beach too. And growing up, like my brother was always into sports. I just pretty much followed my brother. Anything he did, him and his buddy Timmy, they'd skateboard, they'd play baseball, soccer, all that stuff. And like I mostly was just into soccer. My dad loved to surf. He surfed, you know, pretty often, and he'd take us, but it wasn't anything like serious, you know.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to Seal Beach a lot. He put me into a summer camp at Seal River, Chaz Wickwire's summer camp.
Yes.
And so I just was like kind of addicted to it.
Was your brother surfing already by then? Or
Yeah, he was surfing. Like my first time ever surfing, I don't remember it, but from what my dad said, like we had a boogie board. And like my brother was just like boogie boarding around, and then I took it out and I was like standing on the boogie board.
How much older is your brother?
My brother's 3 years older than me, so I was 4, he was 7, and then after that he pretty much like got us a soft top or two, and then I did the camp, became friends with Chaz's son Sam, and then that was like one summer, and then after that I was just diehard soccer, was in club, didn't really care about surfing. I'd never really surfed, it wasn't like a serious thing. And then I think I was 10, I came back to the camp and was like frothing the surf. And Sam back then got really good. He was riding like a 4.5, like tiny little board, and I was like so jealous. I was like, oh my god, this kid's living the life. And so then I ordered a board from Chaz. I was super small and just like got super into it. I had like a 5.5 or a 5.4 my dad picked up from like a surf shop, a used one. And then Sam's dad, Chaz Wickwire, he was like, you should do contests with us. And I started doing contests, lost first heat, and that was pretty much it. I was hooked after that. I did a couple little like WSA events, but then I was still in soccer. So my dad would be like on the beach, like hoping I'd lose, so that I would lose the event and then go to the soccer tournament that was on the same day, like in Irvine. So I'd be like in Ventura, and my dad would be like, lose. I'd lose and be crying on the beach, and he's like, all right, get in the car, we're going. And I'm like, no, Dad, I don't want to go. And we'd like go to Irvine, and the coach like hated it because I'd show up late for the game, and I was like their best left mid player or whatever. I'd always start, and he'd bench me because I'd show up late to the game.
Like, your dad's like, damn!
My dad's like,
I can't win.
Yeah, like there's no winning. So then I think like after a year of doing that, we just like quit soccer.
Yeah.
It's too hard to do both because like those tournaments are all weekend, surf contests are all weekend.
Yeah.
It's like,
and like nowadays, like kids aren't doing that for sure because like you have to commit. I don't know, like parents have their kids so committed into surfing or whatever sport they are in because like if they are pursuing it, they want to make something out of it. You know, get a scholarship or go pro, make money or whatever it is that they want. You know, so it's like
we grew up in sports where it's by season. You know, it's like you could play
baseball, soccer,
now
football.
It's like all year long coaches and freaking
Summer
training
league.
and camps. And,
Totally.
It's crazy how specialized sports has become. You know, like Laura was saying, you play baseball when baseball's spring, right? Spring, summer, and then football's like fall, winter, and you would rotate the sports if you were, if you liked them and did them. But over the years, it seems like no, you're gonna train all year for this one thing. So when you graduate high school, you'll get a scholarship, right?
Yeah.
Which is good, but I feel like it puts too much pressure on everybody.
It takes like kids like childhood and experiences like out of it a little bit because like all they know is the sport that they're doing now. You know, like they're gonna go into basketball or whatever, and they're like, oh, like this is a whole different culture than what I'm used to. You know.
Now, did your brother surf any contests?
No, my brother never surfed contests. He's decent. You know, he surfs pretty good. But he was. When I was getting into soccer, actually when I was getting into soccer, he was getting into golfing.
Oh, wow.
And so he loved golfing, I think by like 9 years old or something, 3rd grade, he was all into it and did tournaments.
That's young too for golf.
Really young.
Yeah, I think before I got into surfing too, actually, I was following him and just doing golf tournaments with him. And I'd do a couple of golf tournaments. I never won one. I think I got like 3rd place in one or something. But my brother kept pursuing that all the way to college. He got a scholarship to San Marcos to play.
Wow.
But I think, from what I know, I think his coaches were just kind of mean, and he just kind of was burnt out.
Yeah.
But he still rips at golfing. Like he's a scratch golfer.
So take us back to Chaz's surf camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like an all-day thing.
Totally, it's the sickest experience. I wish I was still around so I could experience it again.
Did you have buddies with you? Like,
Well,
doing
Sam,
it
his son, was like my best friend,
Okay.
you know? And so we would just like hang out on the beach. We go surfing. Water's always warm in the Seal. It's always warmer than everywhere else for some reason. But like you go out, I think takes you out surfing, you catch a couple waves, you're out there for like an hour, and you come in and everyone brings like a snack. You know, you got your summer camp snack or lunch pack that your mom made you. And then like you just like do shenanigans on the beach. I don't know, we'd catch like seagulls on the beach, we'd like lay towels over us, put food on the towels, and then catch a seagull. And then we'd either jump off the jetty or whatever. I don't know, like someone might bring like a fishing pole sometime and catch like a stingray.
Yeah.
And I remember Chaz would get stung by a stingray like every single summer. And one of the summers I remember I was like asking him how many times he's been stung. He's like told me 20 times or something crazy like that. And so I was like, oh, like would it hurt now if you got stung by a stingray? And he jokingly said, he's like, would it hurt if I stabbed you in your eye with a fin? And I was like laughing about it. We come in from that session, he gets stung by a stingray.
He did.
He did. He got stung by one. He's like, you can't even know, you jinxed me.
Do you think, like Seal Beach, though, you're probably more prone than a lot of other places?
100%.
Like, that place is just, I mean, even the Huntington in general has gotten
The
so
pier.
bad.
By the pier.
Yeah.
The pier.
But what's crazy about crabs, that's where they are, right? Like there's just so many right there, and they're not really out in the jetty, right? Like
They like the calmer, like, more
I think
warmer, cool, like, shallower.
they just sit by the rocks.
Yeah.
I think they're in the river, but like I think they just scavenge like whatever comes out of the river because there's so much trash and debris or whatever like food that they can find in the river.
They're nasty.
Yeah, they're nasty, and it's warmer in there. I think they like the warmer water for sure.
They definitely come out in the summertime more than they are in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been exploding. I think it's that Bolsa
Have
new
you
jetty.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've never been actually stung. I got nicked by one when I was on a jet ski with Tyler at DMJ's. When you're never touching the sand, the jet ski's always picking you up. The one time I went to go jump on the ski, I felt like a fish bite me, I thought, but it just grazed me.
Yeah.
And it didn't get me.
So, Seal Beach River. Yeah, I don't want to blow it out. See, everyone knows Seal Beach
Yeah,
River. Come on,
knows.
like, we're not blowing it up.
Nobody surfs it either, really. Only longboarders.
Yeah, but dude, that's a great wave sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
Like low key, nobody like I'll tell my friends, even Tyler and John, like us, like they're swell. We should surf Seal, and like everywhere else is usually firing when Seal's firing. But like if it's onshore, people might talk about like Surfside too. Like oh, we could go to Surfside. You know, Surfside like might be that little like sneaky wave to go to. But Seal Beach is just as good as Surfside, and if not better. I want to say like. I don't know. When it gets too big,
It has its days.
the longboarders start to shy away because it's too hard for them to surf it. And then there's perfect air sections inside there. The right air section, if you go deep, closer to the far jetty, like it just wedges up perfect. You get a couple little sections to tee off on, and then like a perfect ramp.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, it's almost two ways sometimes with the tide. You know, you get that like
there's the
little
wide
one,
center river, and then there's the one in the corner. And like in the corner has the sandbar that just like keeps giving you.
Yeah.
I mean, every once in a great while, I don't surf very much, but every once in a great while I've gone like late afternoon when it is blowing out. Like
there's nobody
empty.
there. There's nobody there. There's actually a lot of foilers there now.
Oh really?
And it's a little sketchy because like they don't really have any regard for the surfers. It seems like you'll be in the lineup like, and there's a lot of stand-up paddleboarders too. But I'll be like in the lineup waiting for a set, and like I see
just doing this
they're already on the set like at the end of the jetty, you know, like just like riding it through, and you're like, dude, it's my turn. Like you better kick out.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
So annoying.
But yeah, no, river gets fun. It just needs a little swell. Like you might go check it on a small day like today, and like it's gonna be flat. Like you're not gonna know what you're looking at.
Yeah, it's very, very, you know.
It's kind of far out there from the parking lot too. So when you pull up, you're like, I don't know, looks like a couple closeouts, but like once you get down there, you're like, whoa, there's actually potential here.
Yeah. It's a fun wave.
Yeah.
Have you ever surfed Long Beach proper?
I've never have actually. There's
way.
like crabs is like I guess they call it crabs or whatever, but like on the other side of that Seal River, they're inside the boat harbor. There'll be like a novelty wave called lobsters, and it breaks like on Hurricane Maria, like has to be like 30 foot. I've surfed that wave, but it's just it's like a burger, kind of not that good. I've seen guys surfing actually in Long Beach, and when it is breaking there, that means it's bombing everywhere else. So it's like not really worth your time. It's more of just like nostalgia, you know. Like
Yeah.
I surfed Long Beach.
My dad is goofy, and he surfed. 56 was like the spot, you know, still is. But like, they would go surf like proper Long Beach, and this is like early before like they extended the break wall. Yeah, they had a break wall.
Redondo break wall or
San Pedro or whatever. Yeah, and it used to get a lot more swell and, you know, close, kind of like a Newport like style beach break.
Yeah.
Close in, you know, always comboed up.
That one spot in Long Beach on the other side of Seal, where the basketball courts are. Like, I don't know what that spot's called.
That's just like it's like Balboa, but so Lobsters is inside the boat harbor.
Okay.
But I don't like just it's Long Beach. Like I don't really know what you consider it.
I've got
that
Belmont
place
Shore. Super fun.
Really?
Yeah.
How big was it?
It was a foot or two overhead.
No way.
Yeah, and it's so fucking fun.
Really?
I was like, Tim Stamps actually gave me the tip. He was like,
But it's like on those Hurricane Marie sides.
Yeah, when it's
yeah.
huge.
I forget what. Yeah, it was
recent?
No,
Okay,
years and years ago. But I think he either texted me or I saw a post, and I'm like, "Where's that?" He's like, "It's here,
Long
you know, today." And I'm like, "Holy shit, is it still good?" He's like, "Yeah, get out there." And I went down there or up there, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Come
Wasn't
check
that
out,
crowded.
Come check out Long Beach if you guys are antsy to find some good waves. You'll find them there.
So, soccer. So why did your dad want you to
Keep doing soccer.
lose?
Well, because I was good at soccer. Like I think like on the club I was in or whatever, I was like one of the highest scoring midfielders or something. I had asthma too. I still have asthma, but I never get attacks. But during all the games, I'd always have an asthma attack. My dad would have to run out my inhaler and stuff.
Damn.
But yeah, he just wanted me to do soccer. He wanted me to get a scholarship, do soccer, and like didn't think there was any sort of like living out of surfing. He was like,
Yeah.
but I mean, after a couple of years, he realized he's like, okay.
So when did surfing take over?
So I think I was 12. After the whole year of like doing surfing and soccer, I just did only surfing, and I was still kind of losing like all the time. And then I think I did Westerns, the NSSA like Western conference or whatever. I got like second, and I never had a sponsor. And then I think Peter Mel told Chad Wells that he thinks he should sponsor me for Quicksilver. Yeah, and then
Peter Mel did.
Yeah, Peter
Because he's
Mel.
going down with his Grom.
With his Grom, John, me and him were good buddies. But
Was he the same age as you?
John's like a year or two younger than me. But I remember I reached out to Chad because like that's like as a Grom you just want a sponsor, you know, you want to be sponsored.
And
so I
Beach.
think I emailed him or something like my own email and was like, hey, I'd really like to be sponsored or something, and then like no response. And then like a week later, it's like I emailed him before Westerns, and then after Westerns, like he reached back out and was like, oh yeah, we'd love to hook you up, you know. And I was like, sick, this is the best day of my life.
So Quicksilver.
Yeah, Quicksilver was
At
my
what
first.
age?
I want to say I was 13. 13. But
First ever sponsor.
That was my first ever. My first ever sponsor was actually Black Flies.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
Black Flies. Kurt Steinmetz.
Kurt Steinmetz.
Yeah, I used to shoot photos with him all the time. He pretty much would take me everywhere to go surfing. Like,
How did you guys connect? Just through
I'm
WSA?
trying to remember. I think it was WSA's. Yeah, he was shooting photos or something. But then, like, him and my dad were good friends. Like after we were all hanging out, and I don't really remember how we met. But he would take me surfing and shoot photos all the time. We'd go every single day, every other day. He'd take me to Lowers, take me to secret spots in Laguna, take me Huntington.
Wow.
And so he sponsored me by Black Flies. That was my first sponsor. And then I think like 6 months later it was like Quicksilver.
So was he a sales rep or a marketing for Black Flies? Or?
I'm not totally sure.
I don't
mean,
remember.
when I was
Yeah.
in Grom, all I knew him as a team manager. I think he might have been like a sales rep or something.
Okay.
But during that same year, he took me to Hawaii on a Black Flies trip. Just me, my dad, and him, and we stayed at Button's house.
Wow.
That was my first ever trip to Hawaii.
North Shore proper, like winter time.
Oh yeah, proper. Yeah, it was like November, Thanksgiving time. Surfer poles going on. I remember the Eddie Aikala ceremony. We were hanging out at Buttons, and so when you're at Buttons, you're VIP.
Yeah.
So I had one ticket to go to the surfer pole because I was like, with Leonardo announcing like best movie or something. Like they had like they recorded us like prior, and so we were announcing it, and I got a ticket just because of that. And then
Wait.
Yeah, what? Like you got?
sorry, I'm going far away.
No, that's okay. But
So-
you, Leonardo, who?
Leonardo Curl-Grom. We
Okay.
were like 13
Oh,
years
because
old.
you're already sponsored by Quicksilver.
Yeah, we were both sponsored by
Okay.
Quicksilver, and like
And they wanted like some Groms that did an award.
to announce the award, so they filmed us like this, and we're like, "Hi, this is the best movie of the year, Surfer Pole or whatever," and they had it on the big screen, you know.
Oh, epic.
And so I was like, didn't know what I was doing. but-
Turtle Bay, like
yeah, we're in Turtle Bay. Everyone's there. Bruce Irons, like everyone. This is the year that Andy died,
man.
and so they had like all the Andy tribute for
Yeah.
Andy.
Is that 2010?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. And so I got a ticket. No one else could get tickets. But then my dad shows up with buttons, and Kurt showed up with buttons. And they're like, "Oh, you're in here.
Yeah.
We have a table for you. Come on."
Right.
And
Yeah, you
but
do,
Then,
yeah.
Like that was a sick
Come on,
night.
Will.
I was sitting with Pete and John and like the Quicksilver guys or whatever next to the Irons' table. And so we
wow.
watched the tribute, and I mean everyone was crying, but like we were next to Bruce and he's bawling too. It was like one of the most like
Oh.
just gnarly.
How cool to be there though.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I got
like
to
out
experience-
of all the surfer poles, I mean that
That would have been hard to
unfortunately
watch.
was fortunate. You know,
Yeah.
like-
Hard to watch, but stoked to be part
It's
of.
the
Yeah.
only one I've ever been to. I don't think anyone will top that one. But like also that trip, like we show up to the Eddie Cal ceremony, and we're in my dad's rental car van with buttons, and like it's packed. There's no parking at Waimea. Everyone's like pulled up on the grass and stuff, and then we're like, they're like, "Yeah, keep going." Buttons rolls down the window, and they're like, "Oh, come on, brother, Like you're on the front row.
Yeah.
And then like there's like a line of like 100.
That's like us here.
I wish I was like everywhere from this.
I wish, dude. But so yeah, they had like a line of like 100 people like trying to get food at the ceremony, and like Buttons just cuts the whole line, grabs a plate. He's like, "What you want, brother? Come on." And just like filling up the whole.
Yeah,
balcony.
yeah.
It was amazing.
VIP has its members,
Uh-huh.
what do you call it? Privileges.
Yeah.
Privileges for sure.
Dude.
I mean, I'd go out to Rockies too, and he'd just be like, "Go, Grom, go!" And like someone's on the wave, I'm like, "I can't go. Like I'm gonna burn someone." He's like, "I tell you go, you go."
Yeah.
Like I remember Matt Beecham was on a wave. I just fully roasted him. I was like, "Sorry, he told me to
Yeah.
go."
When Button tells you to go,
Yeah.
you're gonna go.
Yes, he told me I didn't go on one. He's like, "Brother, I told you, you go."
So incredible. So did you score waves that trip? Like,
Yeah, we scored VLAN. There was like nobody out. I was still a Grom, so I wasn't like psyching to surf pipe or anything.
Yeah.
But like Rockies was firing.
It's so fun. All those spots are so.
What are you,
good.
like, 13?
I was like 13, yeah.
So, going back to the prior to fucking getting sponsored, you're obviously a good surfer, right?
Yeah.
And you're riding for Black Flies,
Uh-huh.
and then Peter Mel notices your talent.
Uh-huh.
You make the finals of WSA,
Uh-huh.
the regionals.
Uh-huh.
Chad answers back and says, "Bro, you're getting on the team."
Yo, team.
I mean, that in itself, you're like, fuck.
See,
I'm psyching.
I
like,
was psyching, but I didn't know that it was going to be a career at that point. I was just like, oh, like this is like I want to do this forever, but I
Yeah.
didn't know I was like good enough to be like on the challengers,
Yeah.
like possibly qualifying. You know?
but before all that, you're just like, at least for me or any other kid, I'd be like, I get stickers and I get free clothes.
Yeah.
How psyched are you
It
then?
was like Christmas every single month. You know, you get a new box of clothes or
Yeah,
whatever
And
it
it's
was.
Quicksilver.
Yeah,
like,
and it's-
you know, it's
the
like
best.
Black Flies, was huge in its heyday.
Yeah.
You know, but like when you're talking about it, it wasn't like, and it's just a kind of a.
Out of all the brands,
Yeah, it's just not
You
like-
went from, like, no disrespect to Black Flies, but like a CD level brand
Yeah.
to one of the brands,
Uh-huh.
Quicksilver.
But I mean, this is like 2010 when there was like the industry still was doing pretty good. I feel
Oh,
like.
for
Yeah,
sure.
for
but,
sure.
But like, just the comparison of like, getting that first sponsor to getting on like Quicksilver is like a
So,
huge difference.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So the surf and pole thing, the awards, who said, hey, Nolan, who approached you and said, yeah, we want you to.
I really have no idea. I think maybe Chad Wells was like, "Hey, we need Grom to come and like do this like video thing like in San Clemente," and I was like, "Yeah, like, I have nothing better to do, you know."
Yeah.
And
But what an honor, though,
yeah,
right?
oh, for sure. I didn't really realize nobody knew who I was. Everyone kind of knew who Leo was because like people just knew Leo growing up.
Yeah.
He was like
Plus
from a
he's
young
they're
guy or
bigger-
whatever. Yeah,
Bigger
Belly-
names in
Belly-
Europe, yeah.
Belly
like-
stepson, so.
They're like, yeah, you and Leo are gonna like announce the best movie or whatever, and I was like, sign me up, you know?
Yeah,
Like, it
hell
sounds
yeah.
amazing, yeah. But so like back to the surfing, like I didn't really know this was a career. Like I didn't have like a goal of like trying to qualify or win a world title or something.
Yeah.
Back then, I was just like,
Well,
On
you're
a riff
13,
and with your
yeah,
friends.
exactly.
Hey, you're 13 years old.
Yeah.
You're just psyching on that alone, like
But-
getting sponsored.
like after I think like 2 years of Quicksilver, Christian Sainz and Frankie D'Andrea were with Fox, and I was coaching with Christian for like maybe like half a year, like 6 months or something, and he was like, "Oh, we want you to come hop on Fox with us."
Yeah.
And they offered me a contract which I didn't have with Quicksilver, and I was like, "This is too hard to deny. You know, I definitely want to go on Fox." And we told Quicksilver, and I don't think that they didn't really want to give out a contract that Fox was giving out. And
So wait, you're like
15.
15.
I was 15. I signed with Fox, and then that was when I was just like exclusively with Christian Sainz, like every single day. My dad would drop me off at his house. Christian would take me surfing, and then like there was so many cool experiences with Fox because they're a moto brand. You know, they're
Yeah.
not like a surfing brand, but like it was.
But they made a big
made a
push in
push, yeah.
surf with Damien Hopgood,
Nina-
Kwame Robb,
Yeah.
and
Nina Karras was
Yeah.
with
He was the
Frankie,
head
right?
boss.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and Bruce Irons, and
Bruce Irons.
they had like.
Kalani, but
Yeah,
that was
Kalani.
before, I think, right? Kalani was
No,
Yeah,
I'm just
Kwame
saying
was
in general, like
yeah.
they made a big push in
In
surfing.
surf.
They had
Yeah.
Geiselman,
Guys, and
Eric.
they had a freaking massive.
Chippa
Yeah.
Wilson was on the team with us
Yeah.
too. B. Durbridge was on the team.
Yeah,
It
that's what I
was
mean. Like,
super sick.
it was
But
proper.
so going back to getting sponsored by Quicksilver, and what was your dad thinking? Like,
I think he was stoked. I mean, at
Yeah.
that point, like,
I
'cause
need
he's
some whatever
because
his
he's a
size is.
surfer,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he's like wanting you to be more of a soccer player.
Totally. But it was a pretty quick transition. Like, it wasn't like my dad was like anti-surf.
Totally.
Like, you know, like it was just like once I completely quit soccer, I was like still in school, and I'm not. Yeah, he was about it. And I think when I was sponsored by Quicksilver, he was super stoked. But I mean, I was still a Grom, and I
Yeah.
think he was more stoked on Black Flies because we were hanging out in Hawaii together with buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Like-
that's the perks of the
Yeah.
brands, you
Yeah.
know. Like
yeah,
you get different, different brands have different connections. And
totally.
Because it's cool that your dad, was taking you to both things.
Totally.
But it's funny that he's like hoping you would,
Lose.
lose. So because
Uh-huh.
soccer was definitely seemed like it was more important,
For
right?
sure,
It
yeah.
could have been. It could have. In his mind, it could lead to more things.
I invested a lot of my childhood into soccer.
Yeah.
So that's why he was like, "You're wasting an investment right now."
Yeah.
But my dad, like,
But you're stoked on it.
Oh,
Like
100%.
just we talk about surfing and like how that just
Takes
consumes
over.
and takes over on a lot of
Yeah.
other passions or other sports or other hobbies or whatever.
and
It's just-
I think my dad totally understands it because he was actually in the extreme sports industry as well when he was younger. I think when he was like my age now, he was a professional skier, and so
No
he
way.
was sponsored by, forget what company.
Water snow.
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 Uh-huh. Yeah. So he's extreme skier. He would live in Tahoe and would like jump off the cliffs and stuff like that.
Fuck
Yeah. But I forget he's sponsored by like Goggles or something.
Yeah, big brand. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Forget what else, but he's got a
Wow.
couple of photos in ski magazines.
So he kind of knows, like, he's like, oh man, when
Yeah.
you get you into a sport,
Getting
like,
sponsored.
Yeah,
you go,
he
but
understood.
surfing, it's in the DNA, like as far as
But your dad's
adrenaline junkie.
And how crazy would that be if it's like, you're the dad and your son's starting to blow up and getting all these accolades and sponsors and
Yeah.
says, hey, Kurt says from Black Flies is going to take us to Hawaii and we're going to stay with Buttons.
Yeah.
Totally.
And your dad knows who Buttons is.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? We're gonna go fucking hang out with Buttons?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's definitely, we talk about the parenting aspect of like raising, kids in sports and
Yeah.
stuff, and
Because your parents live vicariously through you.
100%.
But,
yeah.
but when they get to live,
in Hawaii with like
Yeah.
the king, Yeah.
Well, again, that's the perks. It's like, well, surfing is not going to take you to college and have this lucrative career. It can,
Yeah.
but it's like the perks of
Yeah.
you can't replace those days
Those
of going to North Shore and Buttons
No.
or Surfer Pool or the travels you've done. So it's got this very I don't know. It's like surfing's got this very fairy tale kind of like lifestyle, you know, like
totally.
it's insane.
So Fox, Christian Science, one of our favorite fucking humans,
Little
you
guys.
know, Grindsy.
Grindsy.
We had him on the podcast too.
Oh, you guys have?
Yep, yep. And like I told you earlier, such a fucking small world because I was hanging out with Frankie Deandra today, and I told him, you know, we were interviewing you today. He's like, holy shit, his dad did our container for Murph electric bicycles.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? You know?
Yeah,
He's
Frankie-
like, yeah, we sponsored it, you know, when I was at Fox and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this is too weird. Like,
So weird.
Right. That's great about the show. Is like, you know,
we're all
The
connected.
community is all connected, and it's funny that you guys just on your last episode had Tom Carey on the show, and he walks my family's dogs. So,
Pup division.
It's Pups Division, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a one big circle in the surf industry.
Yeah.
You know?
So, when you say you got a contract for Fox, did you turn pro or not yet?
I mean, I got like a little salary. Or I don't even think it was a salary; it was a travel budget. So I guess depending on what you would consider.
Yeah, back then we couldn't collect money as an amateur.
Okay.
You know, we could collect travel money,
Budget.
but like you could still now or last decade you could collect money and get paid, but still technically be amateur based on you know
Your results.
results
Yeah.
like you know surfing the amateur. You know, like it's kind of like I feel like turning pro this month or this year or this day. You know, where it was a big deal. Like usually wait until after the U.S. championships or world titles, and you're like that 18 just grad. You know, like
Totally.
it's like that stepping stone. Okay, like did all the junior contests. I did the world. You see that date already almost like already written out.
Totally.
You know, and you're like just waiting for it to come,
Yeah.
and you're like, that's the day I'm kind of or that.
I'm pro.
Yeah.
pretty
Now
much.
it's like, you know.
I mean, there's Groms that are like 14 years old that are making more money than me, you know? So, like,
Yeah.
they're
Very
professional
few.
13, 14-year-olds, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fox, you're like 15 years old. You're still doing NSSAs.
Still doing SSAs. And so I found out that I wanted surfing to be a career, like, really, was when I turned 15 or 16, I think I was 16, I went to ISAs with, like, the USA team, the junior USA team. And it was, like, the best USA kids, Jake Marshall, Griffin.
And how do they select for that? Like,
I think it's based off results.
like
So
they look at the top
we
5
do
of it.
Surfing America, and whoever like in the rankings, they pretty much just take the top 4 surfers. And I think sometimes if they're like not sure about the 4th surfer, they'll do like a surf off,
Couple
like,
workouts
a
and
couple
stuff.
workouts,
Yeah.
and they pick through that. But so that contest, I remember just like stressing the whole contest because I'm surfing against all these international surfers from Brazil, from Australia, and like I didn't really know where I sat in that position. And before the contest, leading up to it, I was bogging. Like I couldn't even put together a wave. I couldn't put together a turn even. And then going to the contest, I end up like there's so many heats in the ISA events that I like made it through like 10 heats. Was in the final with Griffin. I think Jake might have been in the final.
Dang, you guys clean house.
And I forget, there might have been like a Brazilian or something, or an Australian, I can't remember.
And where's the location?
This was in Ecuador. I don't know what the wave was called. It was like a left point break with all these huge elephant seals.
That's scary.
Yeah, and there was a shark sighting too. They had to call the contest off one day.
Ecuador.
Full suits?
No, it was burning hot. It was
Ecuador.
like sweaty
That's
hot.
seal.
Yeah, I don't know. The seals, the huge ass seals. I tripped on
Elephant
that.
seals.
Yeah.
I thought
Ecuador.
that's... Yeah.
They like the
elephant
warm
seals.
water. They like the warm air.
I mean, you see, I mean, I think like even like killer whales, orcas, like are found in warm waters too,
Really?
and they're notorious to be up in the,
Interesting.
Same with,
Yeah.
I mean, great whites. They go from like Alaska down to Mexico to Hawaii. They do this
Yeah.
weird track.
But elephant seals, you don't see them except for fucking
No, it's
up
pretty
north.
pretty
Yeah.
hot for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So Ecuador's hot as shit.
Yeah.
It was probably the hottest country I've ever been to. I think.
So you made the finals.
Made the final, and I had the highest score, one single wave score in the final, but I didn't have a backup. I ended up getting 3rd. I want to say Griffin got 2nd, and I think the Brazilian won it. Oh no, you know who it was? It was a French kid named Luca or something. He doesn't compete in contests anymore, but he won the ISAs, and he's like a stand-up paddleboarder now or something. But once I did good in that event, I just realized that I was good enough to have a career out of it, and I wanted to keep, winning or doing good in contests.
Yeah. Before that, though, in the U.S. amateur stuff,
Yeah.
were you doing NSSAs, WSAs?
NSSA, WSA is the Surfing America, which is like the same thing as WSA, but Surfing America is like the next tier up, I guess.
The prime, you have to get invited.
Yeah, you have to get invited through the WSA. You have to do good in WSAs, and they're like, all right, you're good enough to go to the prime.
And they still have those, like now, or is it
The certain
Prime?
primes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's called Surfing America. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So is Griffin your age? Or?
Yeah, me and Griffin are the same age.
Okay.
Me and Griffin would hang out all the time. Because I feel like before all the younger San Clemente kids, like the 2% crew and stuff, before they were old enough, I was just like 16, just got my license, and I was just driving to San Clemente every single day and hang out with Griffin. We'd surf like lowers or Oceanside, and then we'd go golfing all the time. Yeah, but then he loved to gamble. We'd be gambling like I think every Friday night his family would like have like poker tournaments, but they'd just take my money.
Hey, come over and play some games.
Yeah, no, they're like just $20, just $20, and the thing would be gone. And
Yeah.
just like, dang it.
So something that we like to talk about all the time is like how you're from Long Beach,
Yeah.
Seal Beach
Yeah,
is your home break,
yeah,
right? And it's not that great,
yeah.
right?
No.
And then you start getting better, and your talent takes you to different places,
Yep.
right? How fucking crazy is it when when you start getting better and you want to surf better waves, and then you go up to Huntington and you're like, fuck, it's way better in Huntington,
Totally.
And then you get the lowers and you're like, what the fuck? This is the best wave on the planet,
Totally.
right? It's so weird.
It's definitely took me a second to figure that out though. Like when I first started like surfing and stuff, because I just go hang out with Sam Wickwire and like surf Seal Beach all the time,
Yeah.
And then we show up for a WSA event.
Well, that's what's good about the events, is
Yeah.
because that gets you out of your
Yeah.
your
Comfort
town.
zone. Yeah, for sure. But I think like once I started doing the Huntington contests is when I started like surfing there more really. So I mostly was just stuck in Seal.
Yeah. Until you got your license.
Until I got my license.
Well, that
My
and making
mom-
connections with other surfers too.
Yeah.
You're like,
I needed the buddy
you're
to
in the
surf
water,
with.
like trying to figure out who the older dudes are and where they're going, and like, can I sit in the back?
Exactly.
You know?
I wasn't going to the beaches like by myself. I think my mom, before I got my license, she would just drop me off at like HSS with like $20, and then I would like hang out and just like surf, come in, have like a bagel at HSS, and then like go back out. Me and Mark Reeder were like best buds.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He'd be like, "How you doing today, Nolan?" I'm like, "Good. How's work going?" Just like sitting on the stair set watching the TV.
Yeah.
Like, just acting like it's my own house.
Though that's what HSS was like back when we were there.
Yeah.
It was basically like a clubhouse, and
People just go hang
way
out.
more Groms would hang out there than they do now. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully they're doing it
But
again.
Groms now have the electric bike, like the Murph
Yeah.
bikes and
Yeah.
stuff. Like everyone I see nowadays, especially now in the summertime, everyone's got their electric bike.
Yeah.
And like that's just as good as having a car, pretty much.
Oh,
when
for
you're-
sure.
when you're
Yeah,
13.
I Pier was my spot, but then you would hear like the waves in Newport would be going off,
Yeah.
and it would be like, fuck, that's so far to pedal to, and especially after you surf for a few hours and
Yeah.
going upwind the
Unless
whole way
there's
home.
south wind or north
Yeah,
wind.
you're just like ruined. So we're like, it would all, you're always trying to hitch a
Would you
ride.
take a bus
but-
ever?
Dude, I used to take buses to Lowers. from
I've
here.
done it a few times.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like dude, I was freaking. I'm going Lowers for the day.
Yeah.
Up on the bus, but now
It'll
the
take you
Groms.
3 hours on the bus.
Totally.
It was
2.5.
about 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was gnarly, but it was only $1 something each way.
Uh-huh.
Usually, I'd hitch a ride home. I'd see people from like Huntington or Newport. And,
Yeah.
you know,
It's easy to find someone out
on the way
Lowers,
home, like,
yeah.
hey, when you guys going home? Can I hitch a ride? Yeah, at least get you up to this like
To the
hood.
parking lot. Yeah.
So what was your first board sponsor?
Chaz. So
Chaz,
Charlie, Chaz Wickwire, he gave me, or he didn't give me, he sponsored me, and I have a good handful, I think at least like half a dozen boards I got from him, maybe more. And then I started coaching with Matt McCabe at Lowers. He'd come down in the summertime, and like my dad would film him, and then my dad would like just ask if he would like coach me, because he was like the best ripper we'd watch at Lowers all the time. And
Matt
then-
McCabe.
Yeah. And so then he was like, yeah, like you might like some of these Roberts, and then he like introduced me to Rob, and then that's how I got hooked up with Rob, and then was with Rob for like over 10 years, yeah, like around 10 years I was with Roberts, and he made really good boards.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to Repoza like the last 2 years now, and couldn't ask for anything better, really.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, how long did you work with McCabe?
Maybe just that summer. It might have been 2 summers. I can't remember because he was still young. Like he was like trying to like live his life too. He wasn't like Christian, where Christian grinds. Like he knows, like he wants to make money, and he is always like just like, grinding, doing his work. But like Matt was like still pursuing professional surfing. He had like a girlfriend, and like it was kind of a little bit more like unorganized when we were working with Matt. But he was like flat out ripped. I loved watching him surf.
Yeah. And how did you get? Was it Frankie that introduced you to Grindsy?
I don't think so. I think it was the other way around. I think Christian introduced me to Frankie. I just like knew Christian from surfing all the time. And like,
Christian was on the Fox team, and he was starting to do his coaching stuff on the side because he was still trying to be the pro surfer, right?
Totally,
Both
yeah.
doing it hand in hand.
It was funny because he was done with his career. It seemed like when he was the team manager with Fox, like he was like maybe on Fox for a year, I think, as like a professional, and then they wanted him to be like the TM guy.
Yeah.
And so then like that's when he got me on. And I remember we'd go out and like film or whatever, and I'd think like, oh yeah, it's a TM, like he's gonna like give me waves to get clips and stuff, and we'd go out to the lineup, and he'd be like fully snaking waves and shit. And I'd be like, dude, I'm trying to get clips for the Fox video. Like, what's going on?
Me too, bro.
Yeah, Christian was like, bro, I'm getting my clips too. But it was classic.
Yeah, gotta get the spotlight.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, he freaking ripped. He was ripping way harder than me back then, so like it was understandable.
So, ISA made the final.
Mm-hmm.
That put the idea of this is going to be your career.
Yes.
Well, I think it was there, but it gave you the confidence, like,
Exactly.
I could do this,
Yes,
like, because,
totally.
I mean, your early days, you're, like, looking at the mags and looking at the people, and you're like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to be that,
You
I
don't
want to
think
be that.
it could be a reality, and then like you're like, oh wait, it really could be a reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of progress to be made as a surfer in those adolescent years, from physique changes to just contest knowledge to whatever, because there's a few years there that are super impressionable on my, some kids kind of stay stagnant, some just explode in a really short period of time.
Like you won't know somebody's gonna be like possibly on tour until they're like 19. Like they gotta get over the adult age.
They gotta get through the adolescence, put the muscle back on.
At 18, some people still surf like Groms,
Yeah. It's wild how different. Yeah, bodies. Some look really mature, young, and some might have the technique, but just are soft and don't have the power. And it's definitely based on physique a lot,
Definitely.
But some just plateau,
So then you got on Roberts after the.
I was on
ISA,
Roberts.
or?
I was on Roberts before the ISA event.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on Roberts since I was like, I want to say 14. So it was like when I was still on Quicksilver.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it's crazy. Like, not saying that Shaz, because they're all great shapers, but they all have different styles.
Totally.
And sometimes you have to find the right shaper to get that fits your style. The way the rails are, the bottom contours, whatever it is.
Yep.
Because everyone shapes different.
Yeah.
Especially,
Yeah, 100%. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I what's the one Almeric Flyer? Remember that came out? It's like, oh, it's the best board. And I rode a few of them. I'm like,
Thing's a plug.
I hate this thing. It's like like different people's style, the way their weight transfer, and one model for a particular shaper could be like the go-to for somebody else, but it just doesn't work for you. So you really have to kind of try a bunch of different shapers and experiment to kind of like see what does and doesn't work. But most shapers shape incredible boards. It's never gonna, it's rare it happens on the first model, the first time, and this, you gotta kind of work through it.
With Chaz, I was still a Grom. I had no idea what a good and bad board was. I was like, this is a perfect board because it's my size.
Yeah.
But then like Roberts even, like it took me a while to really understand like what I was riding. Like, I mean, I didn't grow that much like when I was a Grom. I was always small, but like I just like didn't really know what I was looking for. Like I didn't know if I wanted single or double or how thick it was supposed to be. I'd keep my width like super narrow the whole time. I didn't think I was growing. I thought I was like staying the same size or something. And then like it took me a while to figure it out. I think by the time that ISA event came, like is when I started to like kind of understand what I liked. You know?
Yeah.
And shaping Grom boards seems to be like not nichey, but it's definitely like a skill set based on like board building, you know,
totally.
in general. And
Yeah.
kind of like with guns or like big wave boards, like that's another, you know,
Well,
there's different kind of aspects to
Some categories.
some categories.
Yeah.
well, it seems like it's even a newer category because there's more and more fucking
Ripper.
Groms ripping.
Yeah.
Totally.
That need, you know, equipment that fits their body.
Dude, when I would go into HSS back in the day, like I said, I would go in there and all the boards were like, you know, for adult sizes. And
Yeah.
then now
They'd
you
have
go
like
in there-
four, like four little
Now
shorter
they have
ones
the
down.
mini like Kelly Slater board. They got the mini drivers. They got all the boards in there.
Yeah.
For Groms. There's 4 2s in there. Like, dude, nobody was putting this in surf shops.
No,
back
you
then.
would have to custom
We-
order everything.
Yeah.
I used to do the buying at HSS,
Uh-huh.
and every board started at like at least 5'10",
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
I know. I go in there like, there's no point for me to look at these things.
Yeah.
They're all too
You
big.
put it under like, oh, that's a boat.
Yeah, there was maybe one board I remember I wanted to get from HSS when I was a Grom, and it was like an Elia. They had like a glass Elia one. And I was like, oh, I want this thing so bad. I think my dad got it for me for Christmas or something.
Elia with
Yeah,
Finless,
finless.
right?
Yeah, it was like it's like a normal surfboard look, but like Elia shape, but it was all glass and fiberglass or whatever.
Did you ride that
And I
thing?
rode it. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, nice.
So what surfing sport? What was your like your local like hangout shop like?
HSS for sure, but I was sponsored by Caton actually.
So Caitlin was like your.
I wouldn't hang out there though, because there was like nothing to do there. You
Mhm.
know, there was not like across the street from Surfside. which
Yeah,
is still
it's pretty
kind of
sleepy for the most
Yeah, it's
part,
a little
but-
sleepy. But I was sponsored by Kate, and I get their trunks like these old school ones behind
Yeah.
me. But HSS, like I would hang out there every single day. I think like I'm trying to remember who would hang out there with me. John Mel would hang out there with me. Like maybe Dylan Horde was hanging out there with me. I always had a buddy hanging out with me there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how perfect is it? You know, they have Java Point there, and
Oh,
you just
donut.
run across the street,
Yeah.
go surfing, come
in,
back,
Talk to Cash.
talk to Pesh,
Yeah.
watch some videos,
Yeah.
baby.
You're like, oh, the comp's on. I'll hang out here all day.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Like, what kind of clubhouses it is? You know, is
Yeah.
they got TVs. They, you know, got a little lounge area. They got, you know,
Totally.
because some shops are not stuffy, but they're just like, look, kid, we're doing business,
Yeah.
and they're not. It's not.
It's not inviting.
Yeah, it's not inviting. And then there's some that's like complete opposite. It's like, how do you guys stay in business? This is like a clubhouse. Like, you guys
Yeah.
sell anything?
No,
You know?
totally.
So, ISA, you did good,
Mhm.
proved to yourself this could be a career.
Yeah.
What was the next step?
The next step, like, was still like the amateur events, really, but
Continue the NSSA.
it was like slightly going into the junior pros, which like he started to touch on a little bit. I was still doing Surfing Americas and nationals and all that stuff, but like all the older guys like Parker Coffin and Evan Geiselman and all those guys were doing the junior pros, and so I think I started when I was like 16 going over. And back then it was 21 and under for the junior pros, so like the guys were old, you know, the guys were older at least. I mean, not Parker and them are only a couple years older than me. But so my first year was doing the junior pros, I was losing a lot, and then I think my last year when they changed it like after my first year of junior pros that they're gonna go 18 and under now. And so then it was like one more year for these guys to compete in them, and then they aged out, and then it was my turn to be like my age division. And then that year that it was my division, I ended up like getting second place in almost like every single one of the junior pros. The first one was at Cabo, and I was winning the whole thing, like the whole heat. And then Griffin got away with like 20 seconds or 30 seconds left and did like a huge air and got the score. And I was like walking up the beach crying. And then there was another one I got second in. I think Griffin got me. Or no, it was here at Newport. They had one at 5'6", and that was the sickest one because the waves were firing.
They had one there? Wow.
Yeah, they had one. They used to have a 5'4", but since the sandbar is so good at 5'6", they held it there. And so me and all my buddies, John, Josh Burke was staying in town. Everyone from all over that we're best friends with were staying at Tyler's house right here on Brookers. and it was just like pretty much a big, not like a party, but like it was just a big frat house pretty much, and we were all competing in the contest. And me and Tyler were in the final, and Tyler ended up winning it, which like he deserved to win it. That's his way pretty much.
Right.
And then we went to Virginia Beach, and it was me and Griffin in the final again. I mean, there's 4 of us, but I remember Griffin was winning, or I was winning the whole heat, and Griffin got away at the end. I finally beat him. I was like, thank God. And then
Dude, what a sparring partner though.
Oh, I know.
Thorn in your side though, like just that guy that just
always gets you.
always gets
Okay,
you.
but what's a better story though is that for nationals, it was me, Jake, and Griffin who were always like Jake and Griffin would usually win every single one of them, but I would win like a couple here and there. And so we're at Westerns. Jake beat me. I was winning both divisions, and Jake beat me the last couple seconds in both divisions. And so nationals comes along, and I'm winning the final of nationals, like open men's or whatever, U16 I think it was, boys. And I'm winning with 2 7s. Jake's in second, needs like a 7.5, and Griffin's like way down the beach tower, like 3 or 5, and needs like an 8.5. And I was like, all right, well, wait, yeah. No, it's the opposite. Griffin needed a 7 and Jake needed like an 8.5. But since Jake kept beating me,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not sitting on Griffin. I'm sitting on Jake. Like he always beats me in these things. Like, and so Jake's
Yeah,
just,
you had to choose.
Yeah.
They were so far apart.
yeah, they were far apart. But like Jake needed less, and so I'm like, I'm gonna sit on Jake. And Jake's just like calling me an idiot the whole time, screaming at me. In the last seconds, like Griffin gets the score and comes in. And I go to the beach, and Jake's whole family's like screaming at me, like, "Why are you such an idiot?" All this stuff. And
They're pissed at you for sitting on him?
because I wasn't supposed to sit on. Technically, you're supposed to sit on second
The
place,
back,
you know. And there was like plenty of time left too. Like, it was just like it's happened to me so many times last couple
But
seconds.
Griffin got the score?
Yeah, Griffin got the score and won nationals. But yeah, it was. That's
That-
What'd you get, second?
I don't remember.
But that's like, I mean, in hindsight, it's not that big of a deal. Like at that time
Yeah,
it is,
at
but
the time.
now it's like to have, like Lyndon said, those like sparring partners that just push you and elevate,
Totally.
like all of you guys, because that rivalry is like,
Yeah.
It really
the best.
burnt a fire in me for sure. But yeah, Griffin was the most competitive for sure. Yeah,
yeah. Hence he's killing it on tour right now.
Yeah.
That guy's a freaking machine.
seriously.
Yeah.
So, both those guys have made it on tour.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I know, but
Paying your dues and making it happen.
yeah, I think you're on the cusp, right?
Thank you. I agree for sure. I mean, I had this one result in Bolito. I missed the first 2 events because I technically didn't qualify for the Challenger Series. Top 8 qualified from your region, North America, and so I was like spot 10. But since I did so good in the Challengers last year, they gave me the first ultimate spot into all the events, which, like, usually people tell you that kind of thing, I want to say. Like, Brian Robbins would give out the wild card, gave the wild card to Cade because he was injured. I was also injured last year, which is totally understandable. Like, Cade had a really bad back injury, and he's been killing it this year. Cade Matson, yeah. But I was hoping for the wild card, and I was really pleading it to Brian, and he gave it to Cade, which is understandable. And then the 2 comps were coming up. I didn't even sign up for them because I was like, there's no, like, I'm not getting in. Like, there's no possible way of me getting in. And so then after the sign-ups closed and they had the sheets up, it showed Sheldon Simkis, who finished 1 spot ahead of me last year but didn't qualify for the Challenger Series, was the first alternate. And so I would be right below him in the ultimate list if I would have signed up. And so also during the Snapper event this year, my brother had his wedding in Cabo, which I was never going to miss that for sure. I was going to miss Snapper. It's my brother's wedding. So then after those 2 events, they had Bolito.
Does your brother know, man? What the heck?
Dude, I don't know what happened on that planning. Like, he knew the contest was the exact same time the year before. But
I did that at Lowers event, like Bud Tour event, same thing.
Made the finals, but he couldn't.
Well, it was a quarter semifinals, like the last day, and it was like
a wedding.
It was
His
bombing.
brother's wedding.
It was like,
And you were the best man?
yeah. It was like, it's lowers, but it was like lowers going fucking
Richter,
off.
yeah.
And I'm like, the guys that I beat in the court or the whatever round to get in the quarters, they were so mad because I'm like, they're collecting their money, because you go, lose, go get your money, and I'm like, Yeah.
I'll take my
I'm
check
like,
too.
hey, Ian and Alyssa who run in the events. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. It's my
I'll take
brother's
the four.
wedding. Yeah, I'll go. You can just pay me out, and I'm taking off. And those guys were so mad.
Oh
at me.
my God.
I was bummed too.
Who's
And
mad at you?
But
the guys I beat in
competitors,
the heat because I just left a spot open. There was a 3-man quarterfinal going.
I
here.
would have kept it
Oh.
secret for a while if you could have.
You know, whatever. But they were just like, you motherfucker, you're not even going to be here. And I'm like, those guys, you know.
I'm like, dude, I'm trying to make some money.
Yeah. But it's rough, but you know, whatever. It's family first.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you're the best man, especially, you know, like you're not gonna
Yeah.
miss your brother's
It's
wedding.
family.
And
Your
you know,
brother would be
you guys are
pissed.
gonna be raging in Cabo.
Dude, it was a fun time for sure. I know. I'm gonna have to plan my wedding like doing something important for him.
So can you explain like this Challengers series because it's like only 8 per region?
Yes.
So
It's
8
all
from
changing.
North America, 8 from Hawaii,
No.
8 from like.
It's so technical and really hard to explain to people that might not know, you know, what.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, I don't understand.
So, before COVID, it was one world ranking, remember?
Yep.
And you can go to any single event around the world, whatever rating event it was, if you could get into it, you wanted to do it, especially the 10 stars and 10,000s. So after COVID, they wanted to make it more simple and easier for everyone, like, in their country to just qualify for these high-rated events. So now it's like a 3-tier system where it's the World Tour with the top 32,
Yep.
then there's the Challenger Series, and then the qualifying series. And so the qualifying series is where we all have to start
in your home.
in your region. Yes, so there's the Brazil region, there's the Asia region, there's Hawaii and Tahiti region, and then Australia, Europe, yeah, and so on or whatever. There's like that many regions. But so Hawaii only gets 5 spots because there's less surfers.
Okay.
Asia, I think, only gets 5 spots as well. Australia gets 8. North America gets 8, Brazil gets 8, and Europe gets 8. So
what is that total format? Like a 6?
It comes
60,
into 80. It's
80?
round of 80 is what it starts in for the Challenger Series. But so you have to get top 8 in each of those regions, or top 5, and then you go to the Challenger Series, which starts halfway through the year. And so they seed each region together, and they take the surfers from the World Tour that fell off in the first half and combine them into the Challenger Series. So while the World Tour is going on, the Challenger Series is going on at the same time, and so then the top 10 surfers from the Challenger Series move up into the World Tour. But they change it each year because the year before, when I did good at Snapper, it was top 96, so each region had 10 surfers.
Yeah.
And
Now it's back down to 80.
now it's back down to 80, or 8.
Yeah, I mean it's all difficult. Like
But then also there's extra spots for CT surfers that want to do the Challenger Series because the WSL wants the CT surfers
bring names.
to
big
bring names,
Yeah.
more viewers, all that stuff. So they keep all these open spots for the surfers that want to come and do it. But so that's how it opens up, guys.
And that's by their choice. They don't have to.
Yeah,
They-
the surfers don't have to. Last year they had to do at least one.
That's what I thought. Okay,
Yes,
one.
this year they don't have to do them anymore.
Yeah.
But you never really want to have one of those guys in your heat because like Felipe signed up for the U.S. Open.
Yes.
And like if you have Felipe in your heat, you might as well just take second place or
Fuck.
yeah, that guy's gonna win the heat probably. But it's also
You've taken down some big names.
well, it definitely fires you up for sure when you have someone like that in your heat. Like I remember I had Kalohe in 3 of my heats at the Open the first year I did it. I had Julian Wilson in a couple of my heats at Snapper. Like it's always whenever a CT surfer comes into the heat, like it definitely fires me up to like send it more.
And those guys do want to perform at their home breaks too. So if they're at Snapper or I know Philippe lives down in San Clemente, but I'm sure sponsors and stuff want him here at the U.S. Open and Hawaii. Like everybody wants.
Last year when I was in Brazil for the Challenger Series, Gabriel, Zhao, like all these really good surfers. Yago was in it, and all the best Brazilians. And then Gabriel goes ahead and just wins the contest. It takes away the points from the surfers that want to try and get on the tour.
Right.
Which it's
not even about the money or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just
no
about,
blame to them. They were ripping, they deserved it. But you're just like, dude, this is two events before the qualifying. Like you can't just like give us a little break.
You're
here.
already gonna make it, so
Yeah, exactly. You already won the title, bud. So, but
That's so,
So-
wild on that.
And there's so many like wild cards from each region, and then also WSL wild cards that are combined into like the challengers and the World Tour. So that's why it's really confusing as well. Like since I didn't qualify, I'm the second alternate. But so nobody, like I said, nobody told me that since I did good the year before that I'm gonna be a high rated alternate. The alternate list is like a whole nother like drama thing, because there's guys like Taj Limlad who got 9th here in the region, placed higher than me. But since I did good last year, the challengers, they're gonna put me above him. And then there's like other guys that didn't even qualify that are like above other people. It's really
sounds like you just gotta win events and be good.
Sounds like you just got to sign up too.
It sounds like you have to be the top 8 surfer. It's really hard, you know.
Really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that Slater Coop's taking a spot on the tour for one of these like
Wild card
guys.
You got the wild card again.
I know.
So, what was his injuries held you back?
A little bit, yeah. So in 2020, during COVID, I tore my meniscus here in Newport, and I didn't know what to do about it. Like I thought that it was just gonna work itself out, and then I went in to see Dr. Kramer, and
Gotta go clean it up.
yeah, so he's like, get an MRI. He's moving my legs around, and he's like, you need to get an MRI on your hip too, because that doesn't sound too good either. Like, let's, before we go into your knee surgery, just get an MRI on your hip for me, and then we'll come back and just make sure everything's good. And so I'm like, okay, get a hip MRI, and it comes back. So, okay, so that surgery we're going into for your knee is actually going to be your hip surgery, and then 6 weeks later we're going to do your knee. And so I was like, whoa, like I'm going.
Did you have hip issues before?
Yeah, I had a torn labrum. I mean, I was dealing with hip issues, but it only kind of bothered me like if I was grinding small waves and stuff. If there was big waves, it didn't really matter.
Yeah. It's always small waves that just tweak you.
Totally. And so yeah,
But you didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, I didn't even know it was torn. I had no idea. I was just
Just
like,
a little sore and achy.
clicks everywhere. Yeah, sore, achy. Like some days I just like I can't surf. It's too small. That stuff. But I mean, I was still surfing before I hurt my knee, and it felt fine.
Yeah.
So then we go into that surgery on October 1st, and then November 11th of 2020, I had my knee surgery. And so then the whole rest of that year, I was pretty much like in crutches and like rehabbing. And then I think by like January 1st, I had my first session. It was like just going straight and kind of bogging. And
kind of like Lennon.
How dare you?
Oh, fucking
this is Aki over here. But then
what was that? Like the rehab was pretty intense right after that.
So yeah,
right?
After the hip surgery, I had to go into rehab with like my crutches and like relearn how to walk and relearn how to balance. And then I had my knee surgery, and it was just like all strengthening my quads and stuff. I was doing a lot of biking and like seeing Dr. G here in Costa Mesa, just like muscle work, all that stuff. And so then by March of 2021 is when I started to be able to surf pretty decent again. I could do a couple airs and stuff. And then they didn't have contests because of the COVID, and that's when they started the Challenger Series that year. And so I was technically in the 10,000s before COVID, and then I wasn't in the U.S. Open or any of the Challenger Series because I wasn't like high rated in North America, but I was, the way the ranking was before, it was just like completely different. And so they gave me a wild card in the U.S. Open, and then that's when I did really good in that third. Right after, like a year after my injury.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
You take all that time off. You're just kind of rehabbing, rehabilitating, and the contests come back on, and you have one of your biggest results.
Totally.
I'm bummed. Things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But it's a bummer to, talk to you and learn that your sparring partners are Griffin and Jake Marshall, right?
Yeah.
And how, you would make finals with those guys, right?
Yeah.
And, it is what it is, but it's kind of cool to hear and sad to hear that, fuck, dude, your injuries held you back.
A little bit, not like too much. It was actually the perfect time to have the surgery and all that stuff. But I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
The momentum and
out of COVID, who's on tour?
Yeah.
Jake Marshall. And fucking, Griffin made it maybe a year before.
Yeah, a couple years or something.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
But I mean, like, you're right there. Those are the guys that you're like making finals with, And when I watch you surf, I'm like, fuck, that guy surfs really good.
Thank you.
Like I said, I mean,
Yeah.
You're reminding me of Wilco when Wilco was on fucking fire.
Thank you.
Because as we were talking earlier, in my mind, I remember watching a contest in Hawaii. I think it was either Sunset or Haleiwa. Did you surf in both
Yes,
of
I
those?
did.
Okay. And did you make the finals in one of those?
No,
Or like,
I made a couple heats though, and I had a couple highlight heats.
which one
for
was
sure.
it? Was it Haleiwa that
I
you
think
did?
Haleiwa was my best performance
Yeah.
maybe in a heat. But Sunset, I was actually making more heats, but because it's like you can make heats at Sunset with like 8 totals, you know, like it's so hard for people to surf.
So hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember going, holy fuck, who is this kid? You know, ripping, and he's, you know, they say he's from Long Beach, because I think that's when you first showed up on my radar. Like, I was like, whoa, this kid's
Long
fucking
Beach?
ripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like,
know.
I'm from Long Beach, but but yeah, it was like a contest in Hawaii, and that was like 2019 maybe.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was
That
before
was
you got hurt,
2019.
right?
Yeah, it was 2019. I was dealing with my hip back then though. I didn't know it was torn. But yeah, no,
Do
Jake.
you remember how, like, a specific wave or injury?
I do remember specifically surfing Surfside, and I was just like not skimboarding, but like skim surfing, like wave into a wave, and I went
Yeah.
for a turn, and I just like kind of felt
Felt
like
that strain.
a little strain, yeah. And then after that, it was like winter season was coming up, and my dad and everyone wanted to go snowboarding. I was like, dude, I can barely walk on my hip right now. I don't think snowboarding's gonna help it out.
Yeah.
But it'd come in waves, you know. It'd be like super sore for 1 month, and then it would be fine for a couple months, you know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just sometimes those injuries, you're either knowing you're fucked up, like, right away, or sometimes it's just like a little strain, it's nagging, and it just doesn't go away, but there's an underlying issue. It sounds like that.
Totally, it was.
You kind of just felt like it was major, but it just would go away.
Yeah, yeah.
That surfing's hard on the hips too, like
Super hard.
everything on the whole body.
A lot of people have had the hip surgery before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
We know a lot of people with hip surgeries, especially at their age.
I'm just glad I'm above dirt right now. You know, like, fuck. Yeah, I got a bad back. I could barely move.
So okay, after you do your rehab, back on the contest circuit.
Yeah.
Third at Open.
Yeah.
Who was that? The one?
Was that 21?
Irrigachi
21.
one?
21, that was the year Griffin, I
Griffin
think,
won?
won. Yes, Griffin.
Griffin and Igarashi in the final.
No, it was Griffin and Jake Marshall, because Jake
Oh,
beat
Jake
me in the
Marshall.
semi. Yeah. But I think that was maybe the year prior, where it was Griffin and Kanoa in the final. And then Kanoa won back to back, and then Griffin and Kanoa were in the semi in 2021, and so that was like their rematch, and then Griffin beat Jake to win the final. And then after that, you know, we only had 3 more events left, and felt like I never had like a big breakout result like that, you know, so I didn't really know what to think of it. And so now, you know, I didn't do that great the rest of the year. I finished like 30th or something on the tour. And then the year afterwards is when we started Snapper. And so I started again with a good result. And then lost at the next event, which was whatever, like you have up and downs. And then I came home and like re-aggravated my knee. It kind of just like, it popped, but it like, I went to the doctor, they're like, no, you don't need surgery, like it'll be fine. And it just never really got better the whole rest of the season. And so that's why I missed a bunch of regional events. That's why I didn't qualify for the Challengers this year. And so I feel like now that I've had those experiences of like getting the result and then like fumbling the rest of the year, like it's really like, just like, I just feel like I've learned so much in my experiences and like my perspectives on things, that now I'm happy that I started the season off again with another good result, and I just feel like I can be a lot more relaxed and chill with like how I approach things now. You know, not like, I mean, after you have a good result, you just like your head gets super big and you think you're the man, you know, and it's just like you're not. There's so many guys that can do this. Like it's kind of luck, but it's also like you just gotta like keep playing. You gotta be in the moment.
So Bolito, the one you just got 5th, that was the first Challenger Series for this season?
That I did.
Oh, you did? Well, outside of Snapper, you missed for your
I
brothers.
missed Snapper and I missed the Narrabeen contest.
Oh, there's an Narrabeen one. Okay, that's what I was trying to
Uh-huh.
figure out. So there's been
There's been 2 events. There is a total of 6 events this year, and they keep 4 events. So I went to Bolito I kind of was like overdoing the challengers a little bit because I didn't think I was going to get into them.
Yeah.
But then once I realized I could get into them, I was like, I can't really miss Bolito because there's only 4 events left.
Yeah, you got to do them all.
They keep your full results. So I was like, if I don't go good in Bolito and I don't go good at the Open, then like I'm just not going to do the rest of them,
Yeah,
Like,
you got a good start.
Yeah, I got a good start.
So you have the Bolito done.
Yep.
U.S. Open's the next one.
Yep. U.S. Open next weekend.
And then
After that, it's Portugal at Ericeira.
Nice.
And then the last one, which usually is Haleiwa, is now Saquarema in Brazil.
whoa.
Yeah.
So no Haleiwa, or just
They
another
they
one?
canceled Haleiwa. Yeah.
So, damn. You're gonna fucking make it this year, bro.
I hope so. It'd be awesome if I just like keep all 4 of my results and they all are good results,
Yeah.
Do you like this mid-year cutoff shit, or do you rather just have it go full year and full?
I mean, the way where the waves are located on the tour, it just doesn't seem natural to me to have a cut because every single wave at the start of the season is like either like a big burgery like crappy right or like a gnarly barrel, And so there's not like a lot of like leeway for like surfers that have like I don't know are better in other conditions,
Right.
Like if say it's a goofy fitter like myself, it's going to be challenging if I qualify and try and surf Margaret's, Bells, and Sunset, like 3 big burgery rights, It's going to be hard kind of backside, I feel like.
But your backside's your forte.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do prefer going backside.
But it just doesn't give you
It doesn't give a variety.
Yeah, the whole year you're looking at all these lineups
You're
and
like,
you're just
okay,
like,
the same Kyle Belly's gonna do good.
the surf ranch, it's like, it's,
I like Portugal. Portugal's a sick one. Like Pipe's cool to start at, whatever. But like, keep Sunset or keep Margaret's, but then you should add like
another point break
another,
or another
like a left or a beach break or something, just so that there's like a more of a variety for the surfers to have chances or opportunities to like
Especially
show
at the beginning of the year.
to show like what they're good at,
Yeah. Especially at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
With the mid-year cutoff.
Uh-huh.
Like,
But if they keep it the same locations, then I don't like the mid-year cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they changed it, then
Yeah, I feel like it's hard on the guys in the Challenger series, and it's hard on the guys on tour not getting that full like.
oh, it's heavy.
totally.
Like,
It's heavy because, all these years, it's kind of unfair that all these years prior competitors,
Had a full season.
had a full season,
and they made twice as much money as they did.
Yeah, and
now they only get half of their checks.
Yeah.
Huh?
and you need that kind of like variety because sometimes some people do, but I mean it's all like your talent and what you do with it, right?
Totally.
But if you're gonna make it like fair, you gotta have the whole season and a variety of ways to show
100%.
what you can do.
I mean, the World Tour is only 11 events.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I mean, it seems like a lot, but like when you start dissecting where they're at and whatever, and you add in the qualifier and the challenge, then there's a shitload of events. But
Yeah.
if you're just like
You're just
11
focused on-
events, like
yeah.
that's it's not that many,
It's not
compared
like-
to coming from like where have you been, like from amateur to the QS to you're competing like a few times a month, like
Totally.
almost every other week,
Totally.
To
Where-
now you're going to the tour and it's like that's all you're focused on, just
Yeah.
11, so
Which it makes it more prestigious and it
100%,
makes it more, consequential when there's less contests.
yeah.
But 11, there's 12 months out of
But
the year.
I'm just getting the mindset of mid-year cutoff, like you're guys that are used to just like getting on a roll for a while or just getting a good result and you don't have that. You got to be on
Yeah.
those first 5. Like there's no down. There's one result will take you out of that
If you
like
lose
mid-year
first-
cutoff. That's
if
what I
you lose
mean. So
first
it's like
round, it just gets harder and harder.
like going from where you were at to 11. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I got 11 events to kind of like
Yeah.
figure things out.
Yeah.
Now you're like, now you got 5
I
events.
got 5 events.
It's fucking gnarly.
It is.
And it sucks with even the top 5. I think that sucks.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think that like is. Like,
What if
very
you won
fair.
What if you won 6 out of the 11, and then you fucking
Well,
lose?
look at Carissa. Carissa dominated last year, and then
Yeah.
Sally comes and takes her throne, and it's like she has how many like 7 or 8 world titles now. You're like, technically you don't. Like technically Carissa does, but you did win that day.
That's the asterisk.
Yeah, it's
in
an
the world
asterisk.
again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
It's definitely weird, and this one's going to be really interesting for the guys. I feel like because I think Toledo's got it like kind of taken over pretty much. He's going to be number one,
Yeah.
but like Griffin can come out like really win that thing.
I mean,
as
lowers, it's anybody's game.
But
It is.
it shouldn't just come down to like one day. It should be like a playoff. So it should be like maybe 3 events
Like
with those
7-game
5
series,
guys.
you
Yeah,
know?
like take those 5 dudes and do 3 events in 3 different locations and do like a proper like playoff like
But
season.
they did that the whole season, you know.
I know, right? So it's just now you're back to like
You're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, maybe we're just stuck in our old ways, but yeah, I mean, whoever has the most points at the end of the year should be the fucking winner.
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
That's what every sport is, right? The most points wins.
Felipe this year did no worse than an equal 17th on tour. That was his worst result. Every other one was a quarterfinal or better.
It's Mr. Consistent.
And
yeah.
Mr. Consistent, like,
And
He
there's
just
been a
won-
couple
He just
world
won
titles.
today.
and he just
Yeah.
won today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's only, out of the 50, whatever, how long they've been doing the world titles, it's mid-70s, how many won the title without winning an event? Only like 1 or 2 years out of
Yeah.
all of those.
Probably, yeah.
Where like the
I-
world champion has won,
Is PT one of the guys that won the title without winning a contest?
I think he was like, the first year, because there was 2 different tours.
What's the other one, do you know?
I think it was
maybe?
CJ.
CJ 2001?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there might have been one more, I don't know.
Parko won
He won at Pipe at the last event.
the
Yeah.
last
That's
event.
right.
He would have won the title, but
Was that 15 or something?
I'm not really bad with statistics,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I don't know, but so it is. I think it should be points at the end of the year. Who's
Yeah.
most consistent and performed the best, regardless if you won events. If you got 8 second places, like dude, you're the most consistent. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You deserve to be king.
Well,
You go for the year.
they made something new, I think, this last season where like you get a trophy still for being the most consistent surfer. I think.
Yeah.
I forget what they called it. I remember Carissa got one or something.
Yeah. Well, it all trickles down into like, sponsors, incentives, and money and bonuses and
Totally.
everything.
So yeah, what is that? How does that work then? If you're Felipe and you won the whole series, the season, but then do you get your incentive for that, or do you have to win the final 5 to get your incentive? You have to win the final 5, right?
There's probably been some
Changes in it?
contract
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
for sure. Like
you watch surfers get paid. How surfers
I have,
get-
yeah, I have.
How gnarly is that?
A lot of it's crazy. Like I have no idea about some of it,
How much money Carissa made with Red Bull?
Yeah. Insane. It's insane.
yeah,
Are you trying to get that Red Bull
I
contract?
just want in my contract that I get first class tickets to everyone.
Oh man.
Who had that one? Like Jordy or somebody?
well, I mean, just landing like an airline sponsorship. I mean, some have them.
Yeah.
Right? I think
But
Qantas.
I think it was
hook up-
Kalohe or somebody said like in his Red Bull contract like he only flies first class everywhere he goes. And that's
Either
part
him or
of-
Julian.
It's part of the budget or something. Yeah.
Eddie got it.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
Oh, he
he
did
did.
get it. Yeah.
Jordy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, that was a heyday and good for them.
Yeah,
and good for
seriously.
Red Bull for
Supporting their athletes.
supporting. I mean, it made it interesting. It made every lawyer, doctor, big wig corporate, person to push their kids into the sport,
Totally.
because everybody's like, damn, these guys are making money now.
Yeah.
So coming off Bolito, the waves are firing,
Yeah.
and it felt like it almost favored backhanders
For
because
sure.
eventually Cole won,
Yeah.
but Cole won like barely.
Yeah. I don't.
Remember, he had the biggest score, but his second score he only needed like a 4 something. He got it with a 4 something.
It was at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't actually watch the final, but the whole contest, like you could just tell it was favoring backside. Actually, on the second half of the draw, the second half, all the quarters, I think maybe even the round of 16, every single person on the back half where I was all backside. It was like me, Cole, Kaylee Bass, Jacob Wilcox, or not Jacob Wilcox, Juwan Deroux. There's like all backsiders pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Goofy freaking dominance.
yeah.
Hey, you know what's funny? I was just thinking about it today. The last 3 episodes,
Goofies.
Nolan, Rick Lash, Shea Lopez.
No way.
Hey, we gotta change this up. I'm just kidding.
How weird is that?
The Goofies have the personality. That's how you know.
Ah!
Whoa. Congrats.
Yeah, we
Just
do.
kidding. Andy Irons has the biggest personality.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. You guys over it.
So
matters.
next contest, U.S. Open,
Yes.
and you're ready.
I'm
You're
excited.
fucking-
It's just a lot to like process, like every aspect of it, like the parking, like what am I going to be eating before the contest, like coaching with my coach, training.
Who's your coach now?
Matt Myers.
Matt Myers,
Yeah.
okay.
Myers mentorship.
And then like finding a quiet place that's not.
Yeah,
You know,
am I like when are my heats gonna be? Am I gonna have time to go back home like after a morning surf, or am I gonna be down there all day? Like all the process of like competing, and then adding on top of like the summer crowd here at Huntington, it definitely like is a little bit hard.
I mean, the PCH gauntlet, like you said, like going home could take
an hour.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah. I mean, just this last weekend, I was trying to come to Newport with my buddies, and it took me over an hour to get here. Bolsa Chica, everyone's trying to go into the State Beach, and there was just stopped PCH. Like the whole PCH was just stopped.
Such a nightmare.
So I know that my buddies like live down here, so I can just like cruise with them or something. But it's definitely nice like getting some quiet time like to yourself during these events because there's a lot of mayhem. And
Isn't Oda your?
my manager, yeah, he's my agent.
Well, I'll call him up and tell him, dude, Oda, you gotta negotiate a Paseo hotel stay.
That'd be awesome. It's probably booked out by now.
Yeah.
But Oda's the man. Like he knows, he understands it all. So like when I'm down at the contest, he doesn't even like come and say hi to me. Like I won't even know he's there for the open. Like the time I didn't do good, he was just like silently like down the beach, just like filming each heat. And he's like, he wouldn't even text me. He's just like, I don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah.
He's superstitious like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of keep it consistent with just, you gotta keep.
When did you start working
Play.
with
Myers. So I started working with Myers right before the U.S. Open. I got third place in 2021, and so pretty much I give all credit for my place in that contest and even snapper to Matt. Like he's pretty much changed my whole competition surfing and mindset for everything. Like he's very in tune with each one of his athletes, and like just like installs into your brain like how to surf a heat and how to stay calm in the heat. You know, because it's so easy just to like be like, oh, I'm definitely losing this heat. Like there's no chance of me getting an 8 right now, or like I need to get 2 scores. He just like really simplifies it for the surfers that he works with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being a student of the game, you know, like understanding the conditions, like what scores are being done. It's like, look, you know, yeah, everybody wants to drop 8s and 9s, but like, you know, like
Yeah.
it's just
You get
Yeah.
12 totals will make you almost every single heat.
right,
Yeah.
you know, outside of those, you know, rare heats. But yeah, it can happen, and you know, just kind of settling yourself down. Like,
Mhm.
dude, you drop 6s on every wave, like in your free surf,
Free surfing,
you know.
yeah.
So it's like just, you know, go out and
Do your thing.
do your thing, and
Yeah.
don't.
Make
You know,
mistakes. Yeah,
That's it. That's mostly it. If
eliminating
you can
mistakes.
avoid not falling and making mistakes, and
That's my favorite part about competition
Yeah.
surfing, though. Is just
To do or die, is it?
playing
Yeah.
the game, and you just know. Like I'll be watching heats and be like, oh, he just made a mistake, or like even when I'm in the heat, I'm like, okay, if I go on this wave, this is a mistake. Like, all right, I made a mistake, but he also made a mistake. I have priority now, so it doesn't matter. It evens itself out. You know, like it's like a full chess match out there.
Yes.
And
It's interesting to hear you guys talk about that because surfing is honestly, when you really think about it, it's not a sport, but it is a sport,
Yeah.
right?
it is when you got 25 minutes in a jersey on.
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah.
But the mental strategies that you guys are talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so much more to it than just surfing.
and,
Oh, 100%. And draining. I remember days where you'd surf like 2 or 3 heats, and you really only maybe do a warm up wave or 2 before the heat, so you're trying to conserve and know.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're like, it's not like a
Spent.
fucking marathon.
Yeah.
Like you're that. But it's the emotional,
Yeah,
the preparation,
adrenaline.
adrenaline, everything is just like,
Stress.
yeah.
Totally.
You're like, wait, I didn't even catch that many waves.
I surfed for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm like laid out.
You're exhausted. But like it's I almost feel like surfing has more strategy in competition than like other sports do, kind of. Like, yeah, there's a lot of luck involved with the ocean and stuff, but like making mistakes, it's like tennis players, like they do make mistakes, but it's like they just hit the ball too hard, or like, you know, just bad angle or something like that. Like basketball
They
too.
can make corrections like that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. But surfing, it's like, all right, one mistake's a big mistake.
Yeah,
Priority is,
time.
people don't realize like how valuable priority really is. Like it's way more valuable than I thought it was before. Like, I mean, I know priority is valuable, but like, just in general, it's a lot more valuable. Than
Well, yeah, you know, the time, the clock, you know, you know, the paddle out, you know, like if you do catch one.
Conditions.
Yeah, conditions.
Conditions, yeah.
I mean, studying the ocean, you know, and knowing where the waves are, what the tide's doing, where the best scoring opportunities are.
Yeah.
That's one part of the game,
Yeah.
you know, and then not falling is another part of the game, and
Yeah.
then strategizing priority and who just caught a wave and where you could kind of
Totally.
keep people off or
Get your own way.
you know, try to get somebody to go on one,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like all that is.
Have you coached a little bit?
No, but I don't know
Dude,
if I could.
He's
Yeah.
the most competitive.
What do you
there
mean,
ever
dude?
was,
Yeah.
This guy knows the game. He's playing the strategies already.
He
Yeah.
didn't use it though.
This guy,
He decided to go to his brother's wedding. That's
yeah,
why.
maybe, I made it.
When you were talking, I remember, you know, we had Baller on stack on,
Oh.
and he went to that Mick Kane, right? Or Mick
Yeah.
Kane?
Yeah, Mick Kane.
Yeah.
I've worked with him before.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Mick Kane's philosophy and strategy is surf to 70% level.
70% level.
Yeah,
Wow.
and don't try to like, you know,
Crazy.
go crazy.
A lot less mistakes and errors.
Yeah,
force surfing. Just-
Shoot for a 7,
Totally.
Yeah.
you know,
Uh-huh.
and then the final go for broke.
Uh-huh.
But you know, as you're surfing through heats, surf at 70%.
Yeah,
And,
just,
and it was like so like whoa.
yeah, just to not
How like insightful and like calming that could be.
like
Totally.
not over surfing.
But I feel like that nowadays, like,
Doesn't work.
it works for some people. Like a Cole Houshman, that guy can surf 70% and win heats all day long, you know, because he's such a big human. His like half turn is like my full turn, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, dude, every time that I watch you, you're electrifying.
But, yeah, there's
You
different
know?
aspects. I appreciate that.
You
Definitely, yeah, like
You
spicy.
look like you're
unpredictable, but
Yeah.
yet you're
you
on.
look like you're going for broke on every single maneuver.
Yeah.
That's what that's the mindset I kind of do go into like these challenge series, just because everyone surfs so good, and like the first exchange is definitely like what I don't want to mess up, and I would like to make as least amount of mistakes is the first exchange. But then once that's out of the picture, like it's pretty much just go for broke at that
Yeah.
point, you know.
Yeah. Really calming when you could get at least a 5-6 on that first 5 minutes,
Totally.
and then you could kind of okay, now it's like
Build on
there's
that.
my backup. For
Yes,
if,
I
you know,
have it in my
or
pocket.
that could be
Yeah.
a keeper. You know, it's you know, you watch guys like Medina and certain guys, and they're on an 8 like in the first 2 minutes, like,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's like
But like Medina will produce an 8 off of like a 2-foot wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he under priority, you don't know what that
There's
guy's gonna do.
there's definitely
but guys
a
that will-
handful of surfers, you know, because we watch a lot of surfing.
Yeah.
Like we're fucking surfers.
Yeah, there's guys that will go sit anchor and just know I'm just going on the 2 best waves of the heat, and I'll go park it out the back for freaking 20 minutes, and they can handle that stress.
The pressure,
Where there's
yeah.
other people that, me personally, I would like to try to get a good wave in that first 5 minutes, like most guys, because it takes a lot of pressure off, but it also gives you more opportunity to be risky or, you know,
But and the
hold guys off.
Like I was saying, I watch a lot of surfing, and I watch Challenger Series when it's televised, WSL whenever it's something, and watch the replays. And not to brown nose you, but you do step it up. Like
Thank you.
there's definitely, you know what I mean. You set yourself apart where it always. It's funny, you know who Doug Silva is?
Yeah.
Legend.
Uh-huh.
And the way he, you know, his expressions, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's what you're doing. Like when you're surfing and you're doing a little extra.
Yeah.
And we,
funny.
you know, I see that and I'm like, fuck, dude.
I think it's different styles. You know, you may see it in, you know, like an Ethan Ewing, but he's so polished, and you know he'll do those front side like cars, and he'll just blast that tail out and do a little drift. But there's different variations of that same like
Totally.
exclamation mark on that turn. You're just like more raw versus a guy that has that kind of like he's probably in his own head and doing the same thing, but it doesn't look as
Totally.
you know like you're
dynamic,
and
explosive.
And especially your backside. I mean, once you started saying that, I'm replaying waves from Snapper, which is such a dynamic wave based on like guys could do lip slides and then like a few little. I mean, it's really high performance waves.
Like Connor impressed me a lot this last contest.
O'Leary?
O'Leary,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I mean, he's always kind of impressed me, but for a couple of years there, he kind of fell off. And this contest, it sucks because him and Ryan Cannell, like they were fucking.
They're so gnarly.
They were so gnarly this contest.
Yeah.
Like
the talent pool is just so through the roof.
You guys saw the whole controversy with John, and Connor, though, right?
Yeah. I'm trying. I have to watch that over again to see because Peter Mel wrote it off.
Wrote it off on the website. That's what I heard.
Yeah. He pretty much said, "Oh man, but he that he didn't get the score." But fucking, all of a sudden Connor's taking a shower, and he's like, yeah, because I didn't see that. I didn't watch the
TV either.
Live.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
But I was like, what the fuck? Because I think I was watching it live, but wasn't paying attention. Yeah. And fucking Connor won at the very end.
I know.
I mean, that's competition.
What did you think? Did he get it or not?
I didn't see it. I can't give a good opinion, but John's my favorite surfer, so I definitely would say John probably got ripped off.
Yeah.
Dude, did you watch
He's
see
got
the
no-
floater? Italo got hurt on?
I saw that thing.
I saw it on Instagram.
I can't watch that.
Fucking
I think his
shit.
meniscus and ACL and ACL.
The whole thing's
I
just
don't
blown.
know. Just looked like it.
But no, I haven't seen more of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I watched it on video, on the rewind.
Instagram.
He posted on Instagram like.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Stab
But
posted
slow-mo.
it.
Or no, maybe it was Stab.
he's out for the season.
Yeah, no,
He's gotta
not,
be, right?
He's not doing the last event, and he's not qualifying.
Yeah.
But I think it's crazy that he won an Olympic title or won Olympic gold, and he's not going to qualify for the Olympics next year. He can't defend his gold medal.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I think. I'd love to watch him defend
He's
it.
so
Oh, because he's not going to be the top two Brazilians.
No, he's not. It's going to be Felipe and whoever does good.
Gabriel Iago.
How would that work too, though?
Zhao?
Zhao right now is the next highest, but like we're saying with the final five, the pecking order, or the rankings, how would they pick the Brazilian if say Zhao's number 4 and Gabriel goes number 5, but then Gabriel ends up blitzing
Winning?
everyone? Does that mean who gets the provisional spot into the Olympics?
That's why I don't like the way it ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do like that best 2 out of 3. I think, when I was at Grom and the US or the OP Pro was it, and they would do, or the stubbies, they would do best. The final would be best out of 3.
Really?
Yeah, man on man.
Wow.
So they go out and do a 40-minute final, 35-minute final.
For the final is best out of 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I even think that those 4 against 5 should be best out of 3, and 4 against 3, matchup should be best out of 3.
Multiple days then.
Not one he, and it's like it's just like you only got 5 guys left. I know it's cost to bring that crew down, and maybe there's some financials involved, but it's like, dude, this is playoff. I want to see those guys fucking catch waves at lowers and rip,
totally.
But yeah, so going back to the man on man, best out of 3 finals, I think there should be more of those,
So going into U.S. Open in 2 weeks?
Yeah, it starts not this weekend, but next weekend on the 29th.
Excited.
I'm definitely excited. I'm trying to just stay chill.
Don't look at the forecast, just
I
kind of
look
live
at
in
the
the moment.
forecast. I hope it doesn't look like it's promising or anything, but I don't mind if it's small.
Yeah.
As long as I get opportunity in my heats, but I just know it's going to be overwhelming with how many. The surfing's going to be crowded, parking's going to be crowded, the whole PCH is going to be crowded, and know I get overwhelmed really easy like that.
Yeah.
Well, you can park your car at my house and get a Murph electric bike.
Yeah, I got one. Since my dad gave Frankie a container, he gave us a Murph bike.
Sick.
Yeah.
So rad.
I'll definitely have to use that thing.
We're working a deal for ourselves too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You guys sponsor Dad? You should put one right in front.
Yeah.
It should be your seat. You guys are chilling on a Murph bike with a podcast.
Couchsurfing show, like the Murph, bicycle show. We'll just be cruising down the boardwalk. Dude, what's up?
So good.
We wouldn't be able to hear. We'll get one word in, it'd just be.
Exactly.
Any, we usually talk. You've been on tour and you've traveled a ton of places, but like going back to like surf trips and like boys video. Like where's been some of the highlights of travel outside of competition?
The best waves I've ever surfed was in Africa, Namibia, Skeleton Bay.
Holy shit! You
that-
got footage of that?
I do have footage.
Okay.
It's on my Instagram, I think, somewhere. It's from back in 2016 or 17, I think.
Damn.
And was that a strike mission?
Yeah,
Like
Pete. We were at the U.S. Open. I wasn't competing or anything, but Peter told John like it's going to be all time. You guys should go, and we just booked it there. I think there's.
Pete's the gnarliest waterman ever.
Yeah,
Like, he knows
if
the
he
charts
tells
all over
you,
the world. Yeah.
if he tells you it's going to be good, that means it's going to be really good.
Studious of the freaking world league. Yeah.
But yeah, we got there and it was like firing all day.
Sorry, he should be the fucking CEO of WSL.
Right.
That would be pretty sick.
He
Yeah.
should.
He ran the big tour.
He
Yeah.
did.
Tour
He
and
was the
stuff.
big wave commissioner.
So what was like? I mean, what's that like? Like, is there a surf camp? Do you have to like? How do you get? And how is it organized?
Pete organized it all. I think there are surf camps there, but like, it's not like you're going to Salina Cruise where it's like waves could be pumping for like 2 whole
It's
weeks.
just
It's
swell
like
and it's
you're
not
there
flat.
for the day or two that it's firing.
Yeah.
Camp, will take you out there. You can rent a car. You gotta get 4x4 because it's like out on like a sand peninsula, and there's like a couple little hotels right on the other side of the peninsula. You can see the sandbar, but you can't see the waves from the hotel. But yeah, like hotels got a restaurant in it, but you pretty much wake up, get your car, drive around the peninsula on the sand, and you're mobbing 4x4. It's super like soft sand and stuff. And then when you're there, you park in the middle of the point.
Walk up a half mile.
It's about walk up like another mile. And it's like a 2 mile long wave, and you've never seen anything like it. Like you go to Kelly Slayer's wave pool and you'll watch her right, like barrel like almost the whole way, on the first one, it's all perfect. But it's like Kelly's wave pool times 5, and it's like double the thickness, and it just looks like a machine. And you show up, you're just like can't believe it. And you get out there, and it's just square throwing barrels. It's really hard to make the drop, and it slams you. Like boards are broken all the time. And so yeah, you catch the first one, you try to make it all the way through. You pretty much only make it like halfway or a quarter of the way.
It's big like Sylvie Shore, like south side, like
Totally.
just right. You're
actually not super close to the shore.
Yeah.
The sandbars change a little bit, but it's just as slabby as seal. Yeah. And then you catch one, you hope you make it halfway, and then you don't make it halfway, whatever, you come up, and then you catch the second half of the wave, and like that takes like a whole 20-30 minutes just to get to the bottom of the wave, like after you catch 2 waves and you're waiting
the
for
current's
waves.
flowing like a river.
Current's ripping, so it's not crowded. Like guys are just like flowing.
Yeah.
And then you have to run up the point like the whole 2 miles. And like by the end of the day, after I surfed it,
2 miles.
Yeah, 2 miles. That's no joke. 2 miles. My ankle was busted. I could barely walk on it. On my way home from South Africa, I asked the guy to wheelchair me like around the airport. I've never had someone do that for me, but I was like, I can't walk, and I had a board bag. Like someone needs to wheelchair me. I couldn't do it.
And did you like go anywhere else, or that just a quick like few day trip?
That was just a quick one. Yeah, we went there for like 2 days and then came home.
Radical. Like you and just parlay into
How
like.
long would you sit in the barrel for?
There was one I was in there for over 10 seconds, but I mean, I was still, evolving and learning. I feel like nowadays I could definitely get more barrels out there. John, when I went, he got I think 10 or 11 barrels on one wave, which is absurd. Yeah, it's absurd.
How many do you remember?
My most I think was only like 3. Yeah, I don't know why.
So crazy though, but long.
Yeah, because
like
I think
football field barrel.
I was trying to like really get super deep, and I would just get too deep, you know? Thing would just race off too quick, or like the wave that I caught would just like kind of peter out like halfway through. It wouldn't be like a full connector.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something.
And how many like guys like are there out?
That swell, there was actually a lot. I think that might have been one of the most crowded swells. There was like Billy Kemper, Nathan Florence, Benji, Koa Smith,
Crazy.
some more
Because
guys.
2016, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And that isn't that when it started kind of happening? Or
No,
was it somebody? Because I
wanna
remember
say
the
14. I think 14
Okay.
when it started happening. Like Benji and Koa and guys were all posting it on their GoPros and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I went in 17. So it was already kind of out there, but it wasn't like something that I didn't know I was just going to be going there. Pete told us like the day before we were leaving, like, hey, you guys are going, you know?
That's incredible.
So I was like, okay, yeah, how much is it?
So speaking of Kelly's pool, you've done Kelly's pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Have you done it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's insane.
I would prefer to go to Kelly's wave pool any day over Waco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you done Waco?
I've done Waco too.
Yeah. You agree?
Like, I agree for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're both different. They're both epic.
But
you
which
know?
one would you rather go to?
Well, Slater's for sure, but when it comes down to paying,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like the
If it was
logistics,
free.
yeah, if
Yeah.
it was free, yeah, Slater's.
Slaves.
I think the wave personally is a little too long,
Kelly's.
just because I'd rather catch more waves, and I think Waco's too small.
Yeah.
But you've been seeing that technology pop up in South
Evolve
Korea or
and
Brazil
stuff.
or whatever, and it's Waco times three,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, you know, you're watching those guys do the one wedge airs at Waco, where it's just like a few pumps. That they're doing that at some of those other pools where they're getting like
Double.
3 turns, the big wedge click, coming down, another big wave. You know, you're like,
Where,
what the
Full wave.
That
Full
Brazil wave where Rob Kelly and Evan Gosman.
Yep.
Or Eric, one of the two, the goofy footer.
Yep.
Is
Evan.
that Evan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That one looks really good too. That's the same one Italo was going to as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Because there's like, it looks like synchronized surfing.
It does,
Because
right?
it's both sides of the,
Of the pool.
of the pool. You're like, what?
So,
How's that happening?
how do you do an air and heat in there at the same time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But apparently they're going to be doing the stab high contest against one of the wave pools.
Sick.
So that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. What about like Hawaii? We talk about like how important and like, you know, like Hawaii, you know, proper is in performing over there, and you've served, you know, Haleiwa and Sensei. You've done a pipe event, like some of those
Yeah.
Volcom or whatever.
Back before COVID, I did the Volcom quite a few times actually.
Yeah. Nice.
But it's like the one event right before COVID in 2019, it was firing for like the first 2 or 3 days, and then
Yeah.
the finals day, I think it got really bad. So I got one heat where it was firing, and it was sick. Yeah, I mean it's the best to have pipe by yourself, but like nowadays trying to go out and surf pipe when it's firing, it's
Fucking
almost
gnarly.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible because there's so many good surfers from there too that like don't want to hassle with those guys.
Nope.
And then the other half of the surfers out there is
Or
a
just
bunch
OG lokes that
Yeah.
just full rank and
Totally.
as it should, but
And a
it's
budget.
definitely hard to catch waves.
It's so hard. Like I think this last winter, like I know you're supposed to surf pipe when you go to Hawaii, but like nowadays, I think I surfed it like 1 or 2 times when I went last winter.
Yeah.
Just because it's too hard and it's too risky. You have more. You're gonna get in trouble quicker than you're gonna get a good wave. That's
Yeah.
for sure. The odds are higher you getting like hurt or yelled at than getting a good wave out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, people look at like snapper, you know, as like, you know, oh my gosh, look at this wave. You've seen how many people are out
Most
there.
crowded.
It's so gnarly.
Yeah.
And the current, same thing there. And, you know, it's just chaos. And it's like, man, you get one, you're like, it's rare.
It's
Yeah.
rare.
You're usually getting dropped in, guys are coming out, kicking out, and it's just like,
Before the snapper event last year, I didn't catch one single wave like fully. I either
Yeah.
got burned or I burned someone, or it was, just like couldn't catch a full wave out there.
well, back, you know, when they weren't doing the dredging, so that wave wasn't that high quality
Yeah.
that it is now,
Yeah.
you know, since they started doing the proper dredging the last decade or whatever. But Rincon, Kira was the like the proper like groin that it was just, but it didn't always hit right, you know. But when it was on, it was like the best of the best. And I mean, like they're flying in from all over. They're driving from all over. When that swell is proper, it's like
There's so many good.
there's
surfers.
so many good surfers, you know.
People
and you're
you've
just
never
like,
even heard of.
yeah, like we would be doing an event up in Sydney, and we knew a swell was hitting, and we would just drive all night and just go to try to get some wind. Like that's how fired up you are. It just doesn't. It wasn't that consistent. Where you know Burley and you know other ways. You know Durant. There's always ways that somebody's up, but that particular wave was just like, and it was
Are you
so
Seal Beach
dry dock.
board riders?
Yes, I'm still beach board riders.
Have you had a chance to compete in some of the events?
No, I mean, we never qualified for the lowers one, but I have competed in a couple of the board riders events.
Yeah.
They had the one at Huntington before the Jacks Pro this year, I think. We're definitely recruiting. We're looking for some more surfers on our team.
Yeah.
Because we have a small community, we could use some more surfers for sure.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the grounds coming up in Seal Beach are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a new breed for sure. That,
What high school did you go to?
I did online school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you're one of those kids.
You gotta be one of those kids
Just kidding.
nowadays, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids in elementary school over at San Clemente are like definitely being homeschooled.
Yeah, I mean, if you can do it, then great. You know,
There's
like
so much talent out of San Clemente and Huntington right now.
It's crazy.
Fucking crazy.
I mean, surfing's just growing. Like there's so many more surfers nowadays. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, sponsors are.
Body Glove, Bonsai Bowls, Paizel, Pro Light, and then I also kind of just got sponsored by this pH water company, Perfect Hydration.
awesome.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's nice to get free water, you know.
Yeah, especially healthy, you know, pH balance.
Yeah.
9.5, what is it?
Yeah, 9.5.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just
You'll have to put in a good word for us then.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah, I'll bring in a box to you guys, no problem. We
Sweet.
have so much water.
we like drinks usually ones with alcohol, but we like to hydrate with water too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
That's the next sponsor.
We need to get re-upped on our. We'll flow you the next time we see you though. You drink, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We're sponsored by Ashland Hard Seltzer,
Oh, sick.
Villager Spirits,
Yeah.
Shoot Spear.
You guys don't promote it on
We do.
Oh, you
We-
do?
We
just-
do, but I couldn't find our stash here. But
We need to get some more. We need to get delivery.
yeah.
For sure.
I mean, so thankful to have sponsors these days. I mean, watching the Challenger series, it's like, fuck, man. I'm looking at all these blink boards, and I'm like, this is how good these guys are surfing.
To get
Wherever they're
to
from
the
and not having
WCT
sponsors.
and not be sponsored is kind of trippy.
Super trippy. Like you have to. Yeah, I don't know how people come up with the money sometimes. Like, it's expensive sport, you know. Surfing.
Yes.
So if you don't have support from a sponsor, then it's going to cost a lot of money for sure out of your pocket. And I know people have come up with like alternative ideas of like making money or like trying to promote or like boost their career. And a lot of people have actually done like a GoFundMe, you know.
Yeah. Smart. Why
It's
not?
super smart.
Especially get all that like local support and people that are just seeing.
This one kid Tim Bisso from France, he just put up GoFundMe to compete in all these events. He has no sponsor and he can't afford it anymore. But he said he'll draw your name on his surfboard as his sponsor if you donate to the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
So he got like over 100 people to donate to the GoFundMe, and you can see on his board there's names everywhere up and around. Like it fits the whole board. He has that as
is
sponsors.
rad.
That's awesome.
That's
But
creative.
he made a good amount. He had like over $8,000, I heard,
Nice.
in the GoFundMe. So that could make him a couple events for sure.
You know, yeah. I mean, you want to support people, and it's a good idea for
Did
sure.
Jadson and Andre do that too? Like, I think he pulled a couple of people to invest in his career.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are just hardworking blue collar dudes that will, you know, do construction for a few months or work some odd end jobs and save enough at home and then tack the series for a while.
That's what the WSL was trying to do with this whole QS and then Challengers and then World Tour, so that
Didn't have to spend a lot of money to do your local
Yes.
region.
But it also, their excuse too was that we would be able to have time to work a day job to afford it.
Yeah.
But there is no time off
No.
being a competitive surfer.
No way. Yeah,
Once you're out of the Challenger Series, you're straight back into the QS.
Yeah.
There's no break.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive to.
Do professional baseball players have a day job?
No.
Do basketball players have a day job?
Not on that
Like
professional
a
level.
G
Yeah.
League,
Yeah.
like would you consider G League? Like, do they probably have a second job maybe?
They might, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Some of those, where you might hoping to get pulled up.
Yeah.
They don't make a lot.
Yeah.
If anything, they're.
But when you're a pro athlete, you have to fucking put everything into it.
Totally, yeah. Like you're not going to qualify yourself if you're working a construction job the other couple of months.
But if you do make the CT, the World Championship Tour, the worst you could bring home per event is like 10K.
Yeah.
So
Per
event.
Yeah, per event.
Like that's if you get dead last. But again, you get dead last, you're off the tour anyways before you know it.
Yeah.
So it's like.
5 events, so you made 50K.
But you spent 50K traveling.
Totally.
So it's a wash. But at least, there's good prize money to get, some reimbursement and stuff.
On the challengers, like after doing the math from last year, the only people that actually made a positive income from the contest were the top 5 people who qualified, I think, or maybe the top 4. Everyone else, so the other top 10 surfers that are on the world tour, like say Ian Gentile, who was like 8th or something, like he lost money qualifying for the tour.
Well, he's made some meets this year. He's
Well,
freaking doing great,
now he's
So it's
making some
like
money.
you said, the investment into your career,
Yeah.
and
But before,
Yeah.
you were making money like if you didn't qualify,
Yeah.
all the top 15 surfers in the world on the Challenger Series were making money,
Are you making any edits or anything?
Yeah, so I'd like to shout this one out. During the Open, I do have a premiere with my best friend Tyler.
Sweet.
It's being edited by my buddy Shane Croucher. And
It's so weird, bro, because I just saw his name on, I think I follow him on Instagram.
yeah, he's
Where did I meet this guy?
Shane
Croucher. Yeah, Croucher.
Yeah.
He's filmed and edited a lot of people's films. He's Finn McGill's filmer and
Okay.
helped Finn McGill win the Triple Crown this last winter.
Sick.
Yeah. Me and Tyler have an edit coming out of a recent
Tyler who?
Tyler Gunter.
Okay.
Of a recent trip we just went on. Instagram. Yep. And it's going to be premiering on Wednesday the 2nd during the US Open at Sandy.
we'll post it.
Yeah.
Sandy's on the beach.
No, not with Sandy's. It's actually by the lab on 405. By the 405.
Nice.
It's a brewing company. I'm trying to remember. It's like Sandy Beer or something like that.
Nice. Oh yeah, right. There's a bunch of little breweries right on
On the backside
yeah.
of the.
It's not Bear, but it's like
Might be Sandy Bear or something.
Sandy Bear.
Yeah, Salty Bear.
Salty Bear. Yeah, there's like 3 breweries, like kind of like in a little compound right there. That's a killer little spot over there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
whoever's listening,
We'll find it. We'll post it. Promote it.
Thank
for sure.
you guys. Yeah, appreciate it. It's gonna be a good film.
Nice.
What's the film called?
We don't have a name yet. It's still being decided.
Goofy.
We could call it Goofy. We could.
Because
But
you're
we
both
need-
goofies,
We
right?
need to start promoting it more. So the trailer probably will come out like starting next week or something.
Sick.
We'll have a name by next week.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Right foot forward.
Right foot forward.
Right foot forward.
I don't know.
That's kind of a good name right there.
Fuck yeah. Why not?
Why not?
Sounds good.
It does.
Yeah.
I've heard worse names for names.
Well, congrats on
Yeah,
what you've accomplished in your career so far, and we wish you the best. And we're big fans, and
Thank you.
we really
Yeah.
hope because we love surfing and we love your surfing, and we want more Americans and locals on tour, and we're just fucking fans. We're fucking surfers.
We're fucking surfers,
I
man.
fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've had legends of our culture and sport, and it's cool because we have guys like you, Dimitri Polis,
Up and coming, the new generation.
Lucas Ostin.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are the American,
Young Guns.
young guns,
Uh-huh.
and it's fun and awesome to hear your journeys and you know, watching. We're living vicariously through you.
Totally,
You know?
yeah. And I love getting like part of my story out that people like might not know. They're like, oh, who's this Nolan? This is another American kid, but like little do they know, like I was surfing with Jake and Griffin my whole life.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
you know, blow for blow with all those guys, and still am.
Yeah.
You know? So
We just interviewed Shea Lopez like this last week, and his episode's coming up, and it's like that motherfucker beat me in like every contest in our amateur career, and sure enough, he's the one that made the tour, and I kind of just came close.
yeah.
You know, and I'm like Jeff Bob beat me in every heat throughout my like you know, and that mofo made the tour and made you know, but then it says I never made heats, but I made some
Nolan
heats, but yeah.
is going to
watch
make
it,
the
but-
fucking tour.
Yeah, that's what I'm
This is
saying.
his
Like,
year.
I just gotta stay in my lane and stay in the moment. That's what I'm really trying to work on. Is just stay in the moment, not overthinking or underthinking. Just like being where I'm supposed to be and being present.
Hey,
Yeah.
watching
one
what
wave
you're
at a
doing,
time.
and you're making it through heats, and you're gonna end up on the podium, and you're gonna fucking make the tour, dude.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
big things coming this year.
Yeah, and it's a journey. It's a long, you know,
Yeah,
it's a long process, you know.
Yeah.
Like just enjoy it,
totally.
you know.
Yeah.
You're fucking young and
Don't take it for granted.
no,
Yeah.
enjoy it. I mean, that's where there's so much more than just winning heats,
No,
but that win heats to fucking stay on tour.
totally.
Yeah.
Gotta make money.
Hey,
Sponsors.
You didn't. You said you didn't have a sunscreen sponsor.
I do not.
Perfect timing.
It's so good.
Shade sunscreen.
I've seen a lot of people use this one. This is the
Stuff's
best.
really good. This one's a lotion. I'll give you a face thing too.
Okay.
But
What do you mean? It's just a sunscreen.
Yeah, there's like a stick, and then that's like a
Oh,
bottle,
the
squirt bottle.
lotion.
Yeah, which
No worries.
works really good.
and usually we give you some bonsai bowl cards, but
You already sponsored?
ready for bonsai
Yeah,
bowls?
I get as many of those as I want.
Yeah, that's
They're
awesome.
fucking so good.
I know. I'll be challenging doing
I was dying for one today, and I just made a smoothie out of that. Man, I should have just gone down and got one.
Dude.
Like it was good to make, you know, smoothie, but I was like, just not the same. Those things are so good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Bonsai Bowls makes the best smoothies.
Oh, for
anywhere
sure.
I've been.
For sure. And shout out to our sponsors, Earth Pack.
Yep. Earth Pack for all your needs.
Yeah,
Packaging,
for all your packaging needs.
bags.
This one is Surfside,
You.
and they comboed it up with Volcom.
Yep. And we got an Arbor surfboard. We got a Jax. Check them out. Earth Pack.
Yep.
And Caballero pool and spas.
Yep.
Who else we got?
Neon Wave.
Neon Wave, yes.
Yeah.
We got, you know, we got some
Some nice
sponsors.
Some
Yeah.
sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are we at right now?
Mercado.
Mercado, yep. Thanks for letting us use your killer space here.
I'm gonna have to stop by here again because there's some sick stuff in here.
Yeah.
I might make a few purchases here.
For sure.
100%.
2 weeks. U.S. Open. Good luck.
Thank you.
And August 2nd or
Uh,
3rd will be the movie.
August 2nd.
Okay.
Yep.
And yeah, we'll figure out when that where the premiere is going to be, and we'll post it on Insta.
Perfect. Yeah. No worries.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys.
Dude,
Woo!
thank you.
Right on, dude. Thank
Super
you for your
fun.
time.
Keep up the good work.
For sure.
Peace.